Are you recording?
Well, I gave you this so you would know that I was recording, but then you just ruined it.
You didn't give me an official notice.
Like
Yeah, but I need like an official. Like, can you type up an email? Like we are officially recording.
Yeah,
and I need like a time card.
Yeah, I'll have it
to
sent
go with
to
that
you.
too.
I'll have it by
Like 12:30, 12:31 officially recorded, and then I need like a code that'll go along with that time so that I can put it into the system.
Okay, I'll have it by EOD.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool. Hey Spencer, what's up, man?
Not much. Just enjoying my Tuesday or Wednesday. It's Wednesday. At least
You
track
don't know
of
what day
times.
it is, dude.
Dude, I got laid off in March, and my days just blend
They just all blend together.
Yeah, it's been a ride.
I feel that, dude. I did where I just started my new job because I left my other job in February, so it was like, I mean, I was doing some stuff on the side, but I didn't have like a schedule.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the same thing where somebody was like, "Hey, what are you doing on Monday?" And I'm like, "I don't even. What day is that?"
Monday? When is Monday?
No, wait, is it? What is today?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a trip, man. I remember I was like, I left the gym one day, I remember, and I was like, oh, I have enough points in my Chipotle account to just go to Chipotle after the gym. I was like, all right. And then I decided to go there, and like Chipotle doesn't open for another 30 minutes. I was like, what am I going to do? I guess I'll just go to Barnes and Noble and just look at books. Sure. And I just kind of wandered over there, sauntered, and was like, okay, cool. I was like, this is a Monday. Like, this is so wild. It's so crazy. Like, to live without a job is I don't even know if it's good. It's just different. It's something weird.
Yeah, I get like I've had times where I've been like between jobs, and like I've had maybe like a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks where I don't do anything. And during those points, like I remember like one time I had like a good 2 week span between quitting a job and starting another job. And like I already knew I had to wait those 2 weeks. So but you just like me personally, whenever I get like in those positions where I'm not working, I feel like I have to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So like I'll voluntarily wake up at like 7 a.m. and then be like, well, I guess I'm cleaning this today, and then I'm gonna just start like making a list for myself of stuff to do, because like if I just like don't do anything all day, I feel like a piece of shit by the end of it. I'm like,
oh no, I embrace the shit. I become the shit. Like it's bad. I'll sit there with like my gym shorts because I never changed them, and then switch from a white shirt to a tank top. And usually the tank top is the same color as the gym shorts. So it's just like a weird looking alien like creature that just lazily sits in the house and complains that the liberals have taken their job. That's basically what I
was just imagining you had like sweatpants and a tank top. You were like Carl from Aqua Teen.
It's 100% Carl.
Full Carl energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got no job. Nobody wants to hire me, huh? Come on.
Do you have like new neighbors, and are they food products?
Yeah.
And are you in New Jersey?
I'm also in New Jersey. Oh god, they put the clown hair on me. That will always be the funniest episode to me, is him putting on the clown hair.
No, dude, no, there's the episode where they make Frylock makes like the turbo toilet and it kills Carl. Yeah. So they keep making him new bodies, and then like that's the rest of the episode. It's just him having random bodies, random awful bodies. Yeah. Like my favorite one was the eye that like the one body that's just made up of eyeballs, like thousands of eyeballs.
Yeah, he's like screaming as he walks around the house.
It's some great ones.
Yeah.
Man, Spencer, welcome to the show. I'm not saying the title yet, because once I say the title, I have to run the the intro.
And you don't want to do that.
Don't want to do it yet. I'm not ready. I don't think the
ready.
audience is ready for it. It's a special moment when that song plays and the intro starts. It's a special moment.
Agreed.
It touches the cockles of your heart.
Hey, now. This is PG show. Get your hands off my cockles.
Don't tell me what to do. And Spencer of RPG Archive,
Mm-hmm.
and also you were one of my co-hosts over on the BudMappers.
Yeah.
Here today, we are going to enjoy this lovely Tuesday/Wednesday, depending on your calendar, and yeah, you never know. And we have some fun topics and stuff today on the Hey Geeks and Gamers podcast. Roll that intro. We're back.
What?
I mean, we didn't hear anything. I had like.
I was waiting for the intro.
Oh, I mean, I could sing it.
You're saying that the guests at home get to listen to that beautiful intro, and I get nothing? Tell me, did you record that, or what is that? How did you make that?
It's all sampled.
Oh, it's sampled.
It's all sampled.
Okay.
Yeah, it's all sampled. I mean, I formed the song, but I used samples. So I wasn't at home shredding on a guitar.
You formed the song, but you mean you wrote the music and it played it out for you in MIDI files, or what do you mean?
No, I mean, like, I got free sample packs, so, like, I'm pretty sure I used, like, a free punk rock sample pack, and then I used, like, a free, like, I don't know, I forgot what I used for the drum and bass, probably drum and bass or some kind of dance one. And then I found, like, 30-second samples that I liked from each one, and then I put them together into a song. Oh, my
God. Listen to Alex. When Alex words it, you got to be very careful with this guy. Because he worded it like, he was like, I formed the song, but I sampled it. By formed, he means
I constructed the song.
That he took 3 different audio files and put them in the same file. That's
not audio files. They're like packs of like multiple samples.
Right, but they're audio files. They have audio.
I mean, that's true
in them, and you put them together into one.
I never said I fucking played the guitar.
I could play that for you. It wouldn't sound as good. But I could play that for you. Yeah, and then add my own little solos to it or whatever that are not as good. I could make you a much worse version of that song.
Can you record one and I'll put it at the end of the episode?
Yeah, I could work on it. I could try my hand.
Cool.
It's been a while since I recorded music. But I think the last time I did it was for the ButtonMappers for like a Zelda thing. I think I did like a Zelda song.
Well, there you go, everybody at home. Now you have something to look forward to at the end of the episode. I will be including Spencer's rendition of the Hey Geeks and Gamers theme. It's called Rocket. That's what it's called. So it'll go at the end of the episode. Thanks, Spencer.
Now I have homework. Now I'm thinking about the logistics of that, but that's fine because I don't work, as they know.
Beautiful. Welcome. Spencer, this is your first time on, 4th episode, but you are actually included in every episode.
Oh.
Because I always include you in the title card because you make the title cards.
Oh, that's a fun fact for the viewers at home.
Yeah. It's like there's a little bit of Spencer in every episode because basically I get a guest and I write out the segments and then I always make one segment stupid and change it so that I have to I just text Spencer and I'm like, hey, I need this. I need the last one with Daniel Santos. I was like, I need a title card that says what's the beginning of this, and then you don't ask me questions. You don't say like why, like what does that mean? You
Mhm.
just give me a card. I say thank you.
Yeah, yeah. I try not to. I like to be surprised. As when you say bean to me as a Mexican person, I don't think
That's
coffee.
racist.
Yeah, and
Like a
when I
racist.
saw Daniel Santos, I was like, uh oh,
Oh, things are getting risky. Yeah,
oh
you
boy.
know what? I thought about that when I was naming the segment, but I was like, I'm gonna play it innocent.
I meant coffee.
So,
Coffee bean.
see, copy bean. So yeah, today's a little different though because I have one segment that's tailor made for you, but I couldn't get you to get me the card because it would spoil your that segment for yourself.
Too bad.
So
I'll be spoiled.
yeah, you're a little spoiled man. Uh, yeah, this show, fun show. I talked to guests, and it's it's the show I found is more, which I can't do this forever, like in this format, but it's more fun whenever I bring on a guest that doesn't know what's happening. Like I remember whenever Daniel agreed to come on, and he was like, "Okay, I'll listen to the last episodes," and I was like, don't do it."
Hmm.
And I was like, the show will be actively better if you don't know what's happening. So,
Yeah, if you can get somebody by surprise, that would be good. Unfortunately, I will not be surprised today. And actually, it's funny too because you had mentioned bringing like me and Teddy on the show, and like I want to do that way later because I don't want people to just think it's another like button mappers thing. I think we're what 3 and 4 or 5 or something like that. 3 and 5.
no, two and 4. This is 4.
This is 4. Okay, you had
There was
one that you
supposed
didn't
to, there,
record,
there
right?
was yeah, no, we did, but there was some recording snafus, and the file was unusable, and I just haven't had a chance to reschedule with that person. So this would have been 5.
But it's still pretty quick. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You don't have very many YouTube friends. You need to be. You
No,
need to.
that's not true. That's not true. I have 3 other people lined up. It's just, I'm gonna have return guests as well, and
Okay.
you and Teddy are you and Teddy are definitely going to be return guests.
Wow, I'm honored.
So,
I'm
so
honored by
like
that.
it's not like I'm gonna have a new person each episode. Eventually, I will run out of people, and I'll just have to be like, hey, you want to come back on, talk about whatever. So it will happen eventually, but I still got a good list of people.
Okay,
Good,
okay.
good,
I'll be
good,
watching with
good
bated breath.
laundry
I
list.
I won't breathe until the next episode.
What does that mean? Bated breath.
It means you're like,
Like when you say bait, I think of like fish tackle.
it's that.
Okay, good. I'm glad.
It's exactly that.
Um, congratulations. Spencer is recording today. I had some recording issues, so thank you, Spencer. Extra, dude. I'm gonna give you an extra title card now. In that intro we just saw, we didn't. The audience did. I'm gonna put another bonus one for you too. Recorded by.
Okay. So what you're saying is
That way you can't sue me.
okay. Gotcha. All right.
Whenever your lawyers contact me.
Yeah. When I lawyer up and
I'm good.
take aim on the YouTube
Yeah, I'll be
channels
like,
that I participated in.
did you see the sick title? Dude, that's the game, right? Like collab with a ton of people
And
and
sue
then
them.
just eventually flip. Yeah, just eventually flip.
I mean, that's the end goal for sure. I want to sell out first, though. I want to shill. I want like to legitimately shill products that I don't give a shit about. I want that phase, and I want to be in that phase for a while, and then I want to move on to lawsuit.
Some like Joe Rogan supplements or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Like
There
if
you
you
go.
take these pills, it will make your brain function better, and your penis will be bigger.
Your brain will be
Demonstrably.
bigger and your penis will be smarter.
Yes. Yeah.
Whatever that means.
It's called Turbo Goose. Inject it in your armpit, and I swear to God it'll work.
Are you ready to get into segments?
Yeah, let's tackle it.
let's tackle it, dude. The first segment, I do a segment every episode. It is called "What's Up with That?" It is the news segment. We're gonna talk about the
Have
news.
you seen
dude.
the SNL skit? What's up with that?
No.
They do a skit. It's with Kenan Thompson, and he sings a song, and the song is actually very catchy. And whenever you do this segment, I think of that song. He goes, "Ooh wee, what's up with that? What's up with that?"
Don't sing it too well, because then I'll get copyright.
That's true. And you may have just gotten copyrighted even before we
I
went live with this.
Shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Sorry, SNL. I'll have to check that out. I haven't watched a lot of like older, like not older, but like newer SNL. I've seen a lot of older SNL.
It is super bad. It's very bad.
You know what? I did see one recently that kind of made me chuckle. It was like, you know what? It was Kenan Thompson again. He was hosting like he was like a scientist on like some show where they were talking about AI, but the joke was that in the background was a realistic version of Beavis and Butthead, but they're not. They're just random people. So like he kept getting distracted and being like, "That looks like Beavis," and he was like, "Me?" It's like I'm just,
Yeah.
it's like, are you talking about me? I was like, I don't know who that cartoon character is.
The only reason that was funny was because that chick kept cracking up in the middle.
Oh no, that was great. No, like whenever they two like it was who was
Ryan
Beavis
Gosling.
was Ryan Gosling. I don't know who Butthead was. Who's Butthead?
I know his name. He does the Is It Cake show.
Whenever okay. Well, whenever they sat together, she just started losing it. And that was the best part, yeah, because she just couldn't keep it together. But yeah, it was funny, but I haven't watched SNL in a very long time. I just saw that clip on YouTube, and I was like,
the best SNL years to me are, and I guess it makes sense because they're my time, but it would be like the late '90s to the mid 2000s, because I think the late '90s they were really edgy and like pretty funny and trying to do like funny stuff, and then in the 2000s you could really see like the Adult Swim influence of just being weird, like just some, like Kristen Wiig hilarious, Bill Hader hilarious, Will Forte.
I love Bill. I love Bill Hader.
Oh, he's great, and like they together and with other people, like Andy Samberg was in that era too, just making like the weirdest shit they could think of. And it's so funny to go back and look at that. And then like later on, something happened where they decided they had to be very political, but specifically left-wing political, and then all the comedy just kind of evaporated. It was just like, isn't Trump stupid? And it's like, oh yeah, sure.
there's a I forgot what show it was. I was watching a show where they were like doing an SNL parody, and it was like Kenan Thompson, and then the rest of the guests were like people you don't know, like
right.
Jim Raffling. Like,
that is what the show's become.
It's just Kenan Thompson and friends.
Like it used to be back in the day, like the big stars would come out of SNL. Like you get Chevy Chase, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Will Ferrell. And then
I mean, like you said, it even went up to, for a while. I mean, I don't like Andy Samberg, but even like Andy Samberg, Bill Hader, Will Forte,
these people
still more recent, but
and then you start looking at, and I guess maybe they need time to become stars. Let's be real about that. But even in like the Bill Hader era, I don't know if any of them are like huge stars. Like
no,
Bill he did that show Barry.
Barry.
And that's cool, but I don't know if he's like big star from it. Kristen Wiig should have, but just never really took off. Like she's
probably Andy Samberg, but I don't really like him.
I like Andy Samberg, but the last 2 seasons of Brooklyn Nine-Nine were horrible. I don't know what happened there. And then he hasn't really done anything. And Will Forte, unfortunately, I think he's funny too, but he just hasn't really done anything.
What was the last thing he did?
He did the show of MacGruber. Which wasn't that good. Which I love MacGruber. I thought those skits were funny.
I like that other show he did, The Last Man on Earth, right?
It was all right.
It was good for like 2 seasons.
Yeah,
the first 2 seasons were good.
It's funny, like shows will do that where they'll betray their premise, where it's like, we're gonna make a show about like almost 0 people. And you're like, oh, that's interesting. And like the main guy is Will Forte. Oh, that's really interesting. He's really funny and can play multiple characters. So you can see how he would do it. And then they're like, but what if there were more people? And it's like,
Yeah, he keeps finding people.
it's like, okay, not really. Like,
what if? And then it's like, we're gonna explain the apocalypse, and then there's gonna be like an episode with like a space dog. I don't know what's happening anymore with this shit. I watched all 4 seasons, man, but by season 4, I was like, I was thinking back at season 1, and I was like, this is a different show now.
Yeah, I checked out in the 3rd season. Just probably early, where I was just like, okay, they're just gonna keep introducing people, and that's kind of not the point of the show. So
Yeah.
didn't you have a topic we're supposed to talk about?
Yeah, we got distracted. Sorry. It was your fault. You brought up SNL. I'm blaming you. What's up with that? It is the new segment, and Spencer, your channel is RPG Archive.
Mm-hmm.
That's your channel. So, and needless to say, your favorite game genre is
Sports.
Golf. Yeah, no, RPGs, and one of the biggest publishers for RPGs, Square Enix, was in the news recently.
I almost want to counter that, but yeah, we'll go with that.
Well, I said one of the biggest publishers.
I feel like they're trying to get away from being known for RPGs. I think they're doing everything they can to do that. But
we're gonna talk about that. We're gonna discuss. I have an article brought up here by IGN, my favorite IGN. We all love them.
Read it every morning.
Yeah, that I saw today, and I haven't read this yet, but the headline made me want to read it and for us to discuss it. The headline is Final Fantasy Maker. That's funny. Square Enix takes 140 million hit and content abandonment loss as it revises game pipeline. That is the headline. So immediately interested because that's a lot of money.
Okay.
So it says Square Enix has revised its approach to PC and console development and absorbed 22.1 billion, approximately 140 million, the billion was for yen. And what it's called content abandonment losses. In a warning to investment community, the Japanese company said it would recognize the extraordinary loss for its fiscal year. I got an ad that popped up. Hold on. Ended March 2024. So this just happened. This is the result of a change in approach to Square Enix development of what is called what it calls HD video games, PC consoles, as opposed to mobile. And so they're talking about PC and consoles here. In its notes, the company said it wants to be more selective and focused in the allocations of development resources, and as a result, the close examination of its development pipeline with this in mind is taking a multi-million-dollar loss. Square Enix did not name the canceled or rescoped in development titles. This isn't, and there's more of the article, but that's all I feel like reading. Yeah. This is interesting to me because we've sort of talked about this a little bit of the button mappers. Sort of what are they doing over there? You talked about like that Dragon Quest game. What was it? The Monsters one or something?
Yes.
That was not good. And then I know there was another one, another Dragon Quest game that came out recently that wasn't great. Like Infinity something. It was based on like an anime, right?
Infinity Strash.
Yeah, that one. So I don't know. I just kind of wanted your opinion on this. Again, I didn't read the article beforehand, so it was just headline. Good headline.
I read the article. Square Enix is a weird beast because they become one of the biggest publishers in the industry, but they're known for they're really known for RPGs, which is weird considering the things that they've done and the moves they made. I think what they're trying to reconcile with is like we have this huge fan base, but they're getting older. So how do we please the older fan base, but also get all the newer gamers as well? Newer gamers not interested in JRPGs, like, to be frank. You can see that with the Final Fantasy series, they've consistently, probably since 10, tried to run as far away from JRPG as they can. With 12, with 11 and 14 are obviously MMORPGs, so different entirely anyway. But With 12, it's still really a JRPG, but it's the format is honestly more like Knights of the Old Republic, like Western RPG in scope and execution, which was interesting. I mean, I'm a fan of Knights of the Old Republic. I'm a fan of those games, so it's not necessarily a bad thing, although I think it did kind of miss in my opinion. But 13 was a return to JRPG, which was really bad. Just like really poor execution. But the thing about 13 is I think they really wanted you to invest in the brand like for a life cycle of the games. So it's like we're going to release 3 of these. Lightning is going to be an icon, and I think she was in like fashion stuff that they did.
Oh yeah. There's like French fashion lines and stuff, I think.
Just bizarre. 14 was what it was. 15 was a romp through with your guy friends in a car, and it was an action RPG, almost in the vein of a Kingdom Hearts game. I don't know what they were thinking with 15. That is, I don't know who asked for that. I'm trying to think of like the focus group who said like, what do you want? Like me and 3 guy friends in a car.
Road trip.
Yeah.
You ever watch The Hangover?
Maybe that was it. Is they're like, The Hangover's popular, let's make that. I don't know. That was terrible. And then 16, look, I get it that they're like, let's make Devil May Cry, but like let's make an action RPG. Let's make it like Devil May Cry. And it's like you got to make a Final Fantasy game. I'm sorry, but you keep
Apparently
running away from it.
They lost a lot of money on 16 too, didn't they?
I guarantee it. And everyone said at the beginning, no, they didn't. I guarantee it. And look what they're saying right now.
I remember seeing articles. I think it was towards the beginning of the year. I remember seeing stuff like they lost a lot on that game, and it didn't live up to what they expected from it. So, which granted, it is Square Enix, so they could have expected a shit ton from that game. So I don't know if it was an actual financial failure or not. It's just it didn't meet their expectations.
And then apparently they didn't get as good of a return for 7 Rebirth as they wanted. Again, I don't know if that means net negative or if that means just not up to expectations. But even not meeting expectations is bad, because corporations plan for that, and they assume that a quarter will be good based off of projections. And so if you don't make the projections, even if you didn't lose money on it, you didn't make enough to justify at the projects that you worked on, which is why they're talking about this situation. 7 is an interesting one because, again, let's take what we're famous for, Final Fantasy VII, the golden goose, really, and let's try to exploit it and pull every bit of juice we can out of it. Now, one thing that's funny about 7 Remake, because I haven't played the more recent one, but I've played the first one pretty extensively, is it is a really good action adventure game, but it's not the best action adventure game if you take out Final Fantasy VII. So it's put in a weird place, because if you look at the cutscenes, they're not as good as The Witcher 3. And The Witcher 3 came out way before it. If you look at the action, it's not as good as a lot of action games I've played. But it is cool because it's the Final Fantasy VII stuff, so you get to enjoy Midgar and stuff. Now, I haven't played the newer one, but it's clear that they're trying to take that and put it into an open world game. I guarantee you it's not the best open world game. So it's all this to say that Square Enix is in a weird place where they're trying to cater to a new market, but what has a stranglehold on them is their old market that wants to, more RPGs, and they're famous for these grand RPGs. And they're like, well, we can still keep those, but also grab these new people. You can't have both. You just can't. And it's I think they're suffering from that.
Yeah, they're talking here in the thing about like games that they know. Of course, Rebirth just came out, which I do want to say I don't know who that. I've only played Remake as well. I actually have Remake on PS4, then I have Remake Intergrade on PC, which is I think the updated one.
Yeah.
and I tried playing it again, and man, I don't know who that game's for. Really, for me, it's like I really like 7, and that doesn't. I mean, I get to see pretty looking areas and characters, I guess, but like other than that, like it doesn't do much for me in terms of gameplay or anything. And then again, yeah, if I was a game, if I was a fan of just action adventure games, it's not the best one I've ever played.
Not by a
So
long shot. No.
yeah. So it's like I don't understand who that audience is for that game. So it's a
Boomers.
well, I guess, but again, I like the original 7 quite a bit, and it doesn't do much for me. But yeah, they're talking about here. They're talking about Final Fantasy 16, which apparently did poorly. Pixel remasters, which I think that's a good direction for the company, but you can't rely just on re-releases.
Well, then they released like 50 games last year, the year prior. I can't remember. We talked about that on the Button Mappers, where it was like Diofield Chronicles, Dragon Quest Monsters, Life Sim,
Various day life.
All these games released like one by one by one by one. It was very unstrategic, and
yeah, they just kind of started dumping. What's it? Harvestella.
Harvestella. Yeah.
They did this to my poor boy Yoko Taro with his Voice of Card games. The 3 of those things came out, and they just kind of poured them out. It's just,
I wonder if
they're like smaller projects, but they're just kind of dumping them out there.
The conspiracy theorist in me is starting to pipe up, and he's wondering if, and this is a long shot, but there's no way they didn't realize that would be a terrible idea. Like, no corporation would go into that and be like, this will work. Like, nobody would do that. So the conspiracy theorist in me says they want to move away from RPGs almost entirely. So let's release a bunch of them, let them fail miserably, and then make the case later that, well, we didn't make a lot of money off those RPGs, so we got to make non-RPGs now. And I mean,
but here's the other side of the coin, though, is that like I think it was late last year, they sold off a bunch of the stuff they got from Eidos. Like they sold off Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, the Legacy of Kain, some other stuff. Gex. No, but I think the only one they kept was like Hitman. Maybe, of course, that one's probably the most profitable one for them. Is Hitman? Those games are big.
Hitman is good because they games as a service that title.
I think they kept Hitman and Just Cause. I think they kept those 2 and then sold the rest.
Just Cause surprises me.
Yeah,
but I'm glad because I like them. But that does surprise me. Tomb Raider I like, but it is just more of an adventure game that kind of sits with the rest of them. It was good though. I liked them.
Yeah. So yeah, so if they are trying to move away from RPGs, they just sold off a lot of IPs that aren't RPGs.
Well, they just weren't profitable.
Yeah, I mean, granted, half of them that they sold they never used,
right?
Or they haven't used in a long time. Like that last Deus Ex game was like 2014 or something.
Yeah,
I
liked it too.
Divided. Yeah,
I liked it.
It's like they haven't touched it in a while. So or like fucking Legacy of Kain or Gex, like that. That stuff was just rotting away in a
You'll
closet.
never see Gex again.
You'll never see Gex. Like I just imagine some like Square Enix employees in the back of the office, and they open up like a closet full of junk, and they're just Gex's dead corpse is just hanging in there.
Yeah,
it's like, oh shit, we left him in here. Shit,
his rotting corpse.
But like I forgot who bought it. I think don't quote me on this because I'm not looking it up, but I think Aspire or something like that bought all that stuff because like now it's all getting re-released. Like the Tomb Raiders had that remake thing that came out then like Gex is getting a trilogy soon too. The same treatment.
I love Tomb Raider getting released and everybody pretending that those games are fun to play.
I haven't played the re-release, but I think they might have like updated the controls. Which is if they did,
okay,
good.
I'm interested. Yeah. But those games as they were are, I mean, they're relics of their time. They are unplayable.
Oh my god, no. Yeah, they're bad. Like they're fun if you're used to it. Like if you grew up playing it, you can still get into it. But like I can imagine a new player picking up Tomb Raider 1 and being even remotely thrilled to play that game in its original format.
Yeah.
But no, I think it was Night Dive or somebody that handled the remasters, and they do a pretty good job with stuff. They do a lot of those. So cool to see that stuff being utilized by somebody else, but it's strange to I don't know what their business plan is now for Square
For
Enix.
Square
And
Enix.
it says, of course,
Yeah.
it says they had a multiplayer style game, Foam Stars.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the hell that is.
It was on the I remember it being they marketed it. It came out. Nobody said a thing. It's just them trying to capitalize on Fortnite. Everyone's trying to make a Fortnite. That's
of course,
the thing.
Final Fantasy.
If you could do if you do games as a service, you can make a not really complete product, but then have people buy into it, and then you make it free to play so that it gets into people's houses, and then you start selling things within it that will make you money. It makes so much more money than a
I play that Disney Speedstorm game, which is by Gameloft.
I'm amazed that you can say that without feeling any shame.
It's a car race or whatever. But like, okay, so when that game was announced, I was pretty excited for it. It looked cool, and Gameloft's cool. Like they make a lot of mobile games, but like they make some decent like racing games and stuff. So I was like, it's gonna be cool. It came out, and I got a Founders Pack, which gave me like 5 months of early access or something when it first started. But it didn't went free to play. It's still fun. Like I could play it across my Switch, Xbox, Steam Deck, and still keep my account and stuff.
Okay.
Recently, it was just the most backwards thing. So every like update pack, they're like, here's a new movie and like 5 characters from that movie. So it's like, here's Little Mermaid and 5 characters from Little Mermaid, whatever. And they're all like voiced and they all race and stuff. They just did Wreck-It Ralph, and they were like, here's Wreck-It Ralph, here's 5 characters, and we're voicing 2 of them. So like 3 of the characters don't even get voices anymore. They just cut that out, and so it feels like So like I think only like there's the first Wreck-It Ralph movie, so it's like of course Wreck-It Ralph and Vanellope, the one the Sarah Silverman girl, they were both voiced, and then the other 3 characters, it was like Fix It Felix, and then like 2 of the other random characters from the movie. I think the one commander girl and like the evil king guy, they don't get voices. So I unlocked Fix It Felix, and I was racing as him, and the other people playing online, all their characters like fucking Baloo and shit, they're all talking, and then Felix is just a mute. And I'm like, this is gross. It feels like they're cutting corners now. It is. Dude, and I'm like, my God.
Have you heard about the Escape from Tarkov situation?
No.
Do you know what that game is?
I know the name. What is it?
It's a PC game, very hardcore. It's like you go into a war zone, try to collect loot, and get out. But if you get killed, any loot that's on you is completely, you lose all of it. And it becomes like a very difficult game of like sniping and trying to find cover, and really it's addictive in a way. But when it came out originally, because it's been in like beta for forever, that's how PC games work now. It came out with like a Founders Pack, kind of like what you got. Founders Pack was like $100. But with that, they guaranteed that you would just get all future releases. Like if they made expansions, or, well, let me get to that. If they did DLC, you would get all the DLC.
You just bought the game, basically.
Right. Essentially, you bought you bought like a forever product. Okay. Interesting. I still don't know if I would have ever bought that, but you get it. And with that came a couple perks of like survivability, like canisters or whatever. So recently, they released an expansion for it. And under their definition of DLC, they did not consider the expansion DLC. So all those people that bought that Founders Pack did not get this expansion.
Oh, no.
And they are furious. It is a complete uprising on this game. And this game is a pretty big deal, like in the hardcore space. So it really is like an interesting take on what is DLC, what counts as DLC, and obviously the developers did not count this for monetary reasons. And it's just funny to see that blow up in their face of like, well, maybe we'll slip this by. Nope. Everyone's pissed. And it's freaking funny. But yeah, it's funny to see these different companies trying to find new ways to cheat people out of money. It's impressive.
Yeah, games as a service is. I mean, we're way off topic now, but games as a service it's interesting, but also like we're still seeing games do well that aren't taking that model. Like what was it, like the first day Helldivers 2 came out, it was like 8 million people were trying to play that game. And that's a $40 game,
That is games as a service though.
Yeah, yeah, well,
it's a combo. But the thing is, you can.
But I think games as whatever. I think games as a service. I think like free to play mainly. But
yeah, well that's the blurry line too. Is it can be done well. Like there's games as a service that is fair. Like Fortnite is predatory, but it is fair. Like it's fair next to like I've played it for forever. I've spent a couple, probably $30 total, just collecting skins that I wanted. But that's it. I mean, the amount of hours I put into it more than justify a $30 purchase.
Yeah. I mean, I did that with Fall Guys. I bought some skins in that game, and
right.
It was just like
the problem comes with the predatory nature of it, where they try to trick children into it, and they know what they're doing. They know full well what they're doing, and that part is a problem. But you can do this in a fair way, and just like when you release a game, we always say like, well, I wish the games would just be like they used to be, where they would just release a game. Do you remember how many shit games there were? Yeah, we're talking. We love our Marios, we love our Sonics, we love our Earthworm Jims, but do you remember the other ones? Have you ever been to a Blockbuster in 1993 and seen what was on that shelf? Like there's shit in there.
I was gonna grab one, but I think I put it back. My girlfriend was over and she has 2 kids, and they were playing. I had my they want to play games, so I had my Retron plugged up in here, and I put in Jungle Book for the Super Nintendo.
Oof.
So I was gonna grab that, but I realized I quickly put it up after they were done, because I was like, I'm not playing this.
Yeah, so it's like it's predatory nature just exists in capitalism. It's just a piece of it that you have to accept, and you need to learn how to dodge it and how to call it out where you see it. But it just sucks.
Yeah, Square Enix. And then there's just at the end here, they just throw out a little blurb. It was like of course they have Kingdom Hearts 4 and Dragon Quest 12 in development, and it's like
and 3.
I mean,
3 remake, which is in testing.
Of course. Oh yeah, I forgot they were doing that. I forgot that was a thing.
Well, you wouldn't like it because it's HD 2D.
Well, that's why I probably erased it from my brain. They probably showed it off at a. They probably showed it at a fucking Nintendo Direct, and I was just.
But for the fans, I am interested, and I will be getting it. I'm not a heathen like Alex. I think it looks great, and I'm excited to play it. Putting that out there.
Of course, I'm sure. I wonder if this is going to cause them to rush development of either of those other games, Kingdom Hearts 4 or Dragon Quest 12. I imagine if either one gets rushed development, it would probably be Kingdom Hearts 4, because I imagine they'd bank a lot on that.
Well, Kingdom Hearts just inherently should be a rush development game, because it's like you're using Disney projects, like things from Disney movies. Why wouldn't you release them like near those?
That's true. Those like tie in what you're.
Yeah, like, could you imagine if Kingdom Hearts 4 was like, we have Star Wars? It's like, dude, Star Wars died like a couple of years ago. If you released that like in the middle of the trilogy, that would have been a huge deal.
They sort of did that with 3. 3 was banking on nostalgia. They were like, check it out, we got like Pixar now. I was like, oh. I mean, cool, but like, so I guess that's probably what they would go, that angle. They'd be like, hey, look, it's fucking Lilo and Stitch or something, whatever. The people that grew up with that stuff is like, they're probably 20 now, so
I suppose.
Who knows, but I imagine that one would get rush development, so maybe that's like their big cash cap coming up or something. Who knows, we'll see. Sorry, Square Enix. I don't really care that much. All right, moving on. Bring back Parasite Eve.
Well, I don't know if you want that. I don't know if you want them to bring back Parasite Eve.
Give Parasite Eve the Capcom. There you go. That's
yes.
Sell it.
Yes, that would be
Sell
good.
it, sell it. They can make it in the RE engine, and it'll be fantastic. There you go. So that was the "What's Up with That" segment, new segment. We talked about a lot of things, and we're gonna talk about even more things. The whole episode isn't going to be RPG related, but I did want to make a segment for Spencer because he is RPG Archive,
Yeah.
and well, you aren't, but you run RPG Archive. You aren't the entity itself.
No, I am. I am the
Okay.
entity. Yeah.
Well, he is. So I wanted to play a little game with you, and I'm going to call this segment RPG or Not to Be. And we are going to go through some different console manufacturers here, and I want Spencer to tell us which of that company's consoles is best for RPGs and which one is worst for RPGs.
Okay,
From an RPG
interesting.
fan.
And
Yeah,
I'm sure you want me to elaborate on
Yeah, of
the
course.
answer.
Don't just say like a fucking console and just be like, well, chirp chirp.
I
You
know
know,
the
like,
answer for one of them for sure, but
okay.
let's see it.
I only have four manufacturers because, like, it gets a little more obscure, and I excluded PC stuff because obviously PC can play everything. So you know, Terry, shut up.
Mysteries.
First one is the biggest one for, I think, probably, yeah, you know what, probably not the biggest one for RPGs, but the biggest one for classic RPG fans is probably Nintendo, right? I'd say maybe. I don't know, it's weird.
Yeah, makes sense.
So which Nintendo console is best for playing RPGs, and which Nintendo, and this includes console, like home consoles and handhelds, which one is best for playing RPGs and which one is the worst for playing RPGs?
Fuck. The worst is easy. Worst is Nintendo 64.
Dude, I was thinking about this earlier, and I might like have to combat you on that, but go ahead.
You'll lose.
Okay.
But the N64 is the worst. They have Paper Mario,
Great.
Quest 64. I think if you want to count it, Ogre Battle. I think that's it. Isn't it those three? Did I miss one?
Yeah, I think that's it. From what I can think of.
I mean, I guess if you want to count Virtual Boy, then no, but I don't even consider that.
Okay. No, that doesn't count.
Right. The best is tricky. There's two answers. There's only two answers for this, but you can make a case for either one. If you want to go like super retro, Super Nintendo. It has Final. I mean, if you count Japanese releases, this explodes. But if you count American releases, Final Fantasy 2, 3, which is 4 and 6, and then Chrono Trigger, Earthbound. It falls off from there, but like Breath of Fire, things like that. Huge monumental games for RPGs. Those alone, you could go really really far. Just on those are like island games that you could bring onto an island. If you want to go Japanese releases too, like Super Famicom, now you have Dragon Quest. So Dragon Quest 5. You have the remakes of 1 and 2 were on there. I think 3 remake. Yeah, I actually played that. I played that for our archive as a translated 3 remake. 6 was on it. I love 6. It's a little contentious, but yeah. So classic RPG Super Nintendo kills it. Here's the deal, though. Everything else, you go to Switch. The Switch is phenomenal for RPGs. It has a ton of them, including Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3. It has Dragon Quest 11. It has every Square Enix one you want, like Final Fantasy 7, 8, 9. They're all there. It has the Pixel Remaster. It has tons. I would like to say the 3DS, but unfortunately, I just think that it's a little niche. But if you're like a niche player, I would go 3DS. But like from a more broad scale, Super Nintendo or Switch. I would probably say the Switch, honestly.
Okay. For best, I was going to say 3DS because I think the 3DS, because you get the DS backwards compatibility, and a lot of the Super Nintendo games got re-released, right? In some format. All the Dragon Quests, all the Final Fantasies,
Dragon
Chrono
Quest.
Trigger.
Did the original Dragon Quest get on the 3DS?
I don't know if one or two. Where did they start with those on the? Because I know some of them did get
On
brought
the
over,
DS,
right?
it started with 4. So 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 you are playable on the 3DS.
Still, basically, you could basically play 4 through like 11. Well, no, not 10, but like 4 through 9 and 11.
11 in Japan, yeah.
But still, you could still
But
play it
yeah.
if you wanted to. But so
But
a huge
I wouldn't
chunk of
think it'd be the
those.
best version of it, though.
Probably no, probably not. But still, it's you can still do it.
You could
So
still do it, yes.
and then Final Fantasy, like I don't think 1 and 2 because that was GBA release. So it's probably like 3, 4, and 5. I think and 6. I don't know which one's got, or maybe 3, 4, and 6. I think I don't remember.
4 was on the DS.
I know 3 was right.
3 was the first time it came out in America. Was on the DS.
Yeah.
5 and 6. Those came out on the
I don't
Game Boy
remember if those
Advance.
did.
I
They have
don't.
PSP versions of those, but I don't know if they have DS versions of those.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Um,
And I mean, look, I love the 3DS, but it is an Atlas playground. If I'm being realistic, it's like
well, yeah, it was like I was going to bring that up. You get all the Atlas games from the DS and 3DS.
the Etrian Odysseys, which I love, but they aren't really for everybody. And there's a lot of other good Atlas RPGs on there, but again, if you're not into that, I mean, if you're not into Persona or Etrian Odyssey, like
A lot of
SMT.
SMT games.
Yeah, like SMT and stuff. Like, so I mean, those are good for that, but it's more of like a hardcore niche machine. Whereas I think Switch has a lot of broad scale, and SNES has a lot of like classic. So it depends on what you want from that.
You do get better Pokemon games though on the 3DS DS. So,
Yes. Yes, you do.
just saying.
Although on the Super Nintendo, you can play the 2 best generations of Pokemon.
Shit. Well, no, technically 3DS you could play the first 2 gens if you bought them
On the small screen. You can play them on the big screen on the Super Nintendo.
That's true. Technically, you could on 64 as well. You want to count that Pokemon Stadium?
Oh, so now Nintendo 64 is my favorite. Sorry, let me rephrase that.
That's a good transition because I was gonna battle you on worst. I would almost say, okay. Are we like when you kind of switched? Did you count like the online service stuff as part of that,
Sure.
like the virtual console type stuff? Okay, because this is where it gets muddled for me. But I was gonna say Wii U. Is the Wii U the worst?
No.
Because I mean, it has natively for its own games. It has like what 2 RPGs, really, like Xenoblade X and the weird Tokyo Mirage game,
Which is phenomenal. Completely an underrated game. But it's also backwards compatible with Wii.
Yeah, it's true, and you do get virtual consoles, so you can play like Earthbound and shit on it. So, yeah, okay, I'll give you that. And
The Wii U beat something.
Yeah, and the GameCube's better than the 64, so GameCube has more RPGs. So I guess N64 would be the worst.
Yeah,
for the RPGs.
by far.
Shit.
It's actually, I would consider it the worst console that I can think of for RPGs.
Okay.
I don't know if I can think of a worse console. Even the Genesis had Shining Force. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, it's
Phantasy Star.
It's basically Paper Mario or bust, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's basically that's all you got.
You know, Quest 64 has promise, but it's so undelivered that it's like painful.
Yeah. It was like they had a good idea, then they were just like, that's it. That's our idea. And then they forgot to make the game.
I feel like they test played it playing by like one time. And then they only did one test play of it, and then that's
and they brought in it. It was one 8-year-old in 1996 who they gave a bunch of fruit roll-ups to, and he was like, "Oh, cool!" And it was like, "Okay, it's good to go.
Good to go, boys." Yep.
Release it."
Yep.
Okay. Next up, I'm gonna do Xbox. There's been what are we on four generations of Xbox console. Which one's the best for RPGs, and which one is the worst for RPGs?
Well, this is we're gonna have to break a rule. I think. I feel.
Okay, what's the rule?
Well, and we've talked about it for other consoles for the Nintendo side and given them this, but for a broad scale, isn't the Xbox what's the current one? Xbox Series X and S.
Just
Xbox
call it series.
For the series version, isn't it mostly backwards compatible with like a bunch of games from all of the legacy titles? So that muddies it, because then I would just say the series. And I think that's a boring answer.
So the actual winner is series, but if we're gonna cut backwards compatibility from the equation,
okay, cutting backwards compatibility, I would probably go. This is hard. And one of my thoughts is really ironic. Because I left console gaming because of this console, and ironically, I'd probably pick it as the best RPG one. Probably, I'm gonna do it. Xbox 360 is the best RPG machine, which is again ironic because I left console gaming because I didn't think that had RPGs on it. But it did have it had Nier. It had Blue Dragon.
Yeah, see both those Mistwalker games, right? That and Lost Odyssey.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fallout 3 is an RPG that it still carries on to today. That's a legacy title.
So two Fallout games.
Two Fallout games. It had Mass Effect and the other
Dragon Age.
Dragon Age. So maybe more American RPGs, but we didn't say JRPGs, right? We just said RPGs.
Yeah.
Skyrim.
Skyrim.
Was late then?
That was like 2012, right? Or like 11, somewhere around there. That was 360 PS3 generation.
That's funny.
It never goes away.
Yeah, I just keep screwing
it's like a fucking cockroach.
Fair enough. So yeah, Oblivion in that. So yeah, I would say Xbox 360 is the best.
Fable 2?
The worst is, it's just probably Xbox One. I don't know. I really can't really.
When you say Xbox One, do you mean Xbox One or the first Xbox?
Xbox One. The first Xbox. Name. Yeah, the first Xbox has KOTOR and KOTOR 2. So I will.
Yeah, so it wins. It wins automatically.
That will never be the last. I almost wanted to make it first just for those two, but 360 I think does do better. But yeah, Xbox One. I just can't think of anything that came out during that era that is remotely good. That's specific to Xbox One.
I mean,
even outside RPGs. Okay.
Even cross-platform games like Final Fantasy 13 even still came to 360. Like I'm trying to think what came to Xbox. Like what was on Xbox One that would satiate. Like that Mass Effect game sucked. The Andromeda. I guess you had like Fallout 4. If you cared about that, it's like
and those are multi-plat.
So it's
granted that shouldn't be a completely disqualified, but it's not like a full on. This is the only place you can get it.
Yeah,
and they had the Dragon Age, whatever that one was called, Inquisition.
But even that one's still on 360 as well.
Is it really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude. That came out during that time which we're still in now for this generation, where games are kind of coming out on both, So,
and honestly, I hate that game. I think it is not very good. Yeah, Inquisition. But yeah, that's disappointing too that they don't delineate consoles very much. Just release them for both. I get why they do it, but it also gives you no incentive to switch over.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I mean, I can't think of anything for Xbox One. At least series now, they're embracing more of the Japanese games now.
Well, the Atlas Game Pass makes it like almost win.
Exactly.
by default.
Yeah. it's like yeah, I was playing Persona 3 Reload on my Xbox.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, like Xbox seems to be a brand that's back to embracing Japanese games, which inherently means more JRPGs and RPGs.
I think it's because they realize that all the dude bros that play Halo also like anime. So they're like, oh shit, we could get them all these Atlas games.
Yeah, they're all like, "Where's Naruto?"
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. But yeah, I mean, it's working. So, the actual winner is series though, because if you have the backwards compatibility, you are set. So,
yep. Yeah, I almost want to give it to series just because of that Game Pass, which technically Xbox One had it, but fuck that one. So series, yeah. but I'll give it to Xbox 360 because it's more interesting.
Next one is the hardest one of the bunch here. Let's go Sony. What's the best PlayStation handheld? Oh, sorry, not handheld. What's the best PlayStation platform? It could be a handheld to play RPGs on.
Do you want to go again? Remove backwards compatibility or?
No, I think it was fair for the series because you can literally go on a storefront on series and buy a 360 game for $5. I'm going to allow backwards compatibility for these because you have to physically own the games for most of them. Like if you want to play PS1 on PS2, you have to own those discs.
PS5.
Why? There's no games.
What? No games?
Yeah. Why? Why? Here, give me your reason why.
You could backwards buy most of the games that came out on any of the other consoles. Like any PS1 game that you like, it's that like RPG is probably on it. Or remastered. Like 7, 8, 9 are all there remastered.
Oh, okay. So you're counting remasters.
Sure.
Okay, yeah, that's
fair. Any PS2 game worth it is probably on there, and they even have that streaming service that I wouldn't recommend, but
Plus,
they technically have it. I only give it like half credit for those though, and their RPG stuff is good. They have Demon Souls remastered on there. Yeah, just for their extensive library and a lot of sales that they do. I would give it to PS4. If we're looking just at the consoles themselves, I would say PS1 had incredible RPGs that like shaped the industry. And kind of what we were talking about earlier with Square Enix, people still now view them for those titles, which is much to their detriment, I feel. Like they're just like, stop. Oh, yeah. Like we're more than this. We're more than this. It's like, no, you're not.
That was a crazy time for Square Enix because it like, again, Final Fantasy VII, fucking blew up, huge game.
Mm-hmm.
They made a shit ton of money, and then they were like, they kind of went crazy for a while, where they made a shit ton of money, and then they just started making anything. They were just like,
and a lot of it was good.
Out. Yeah, it was good stuff, but like it was just like, and that leaked into the PS2 era as well, where they were like, yeah, we'll make a Parasite Eve game. Yeah, we'll make fucking Brave Fencer Musashi. You want that? You want the fucking Vagrant store, whatever the game's called? It was like, then it leaked into PS2, where I think they were like, yeah, let's do a crossover with Mickey Mouse. And they just started getting weird with it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was because of the success of 7.
Yeah, the PS1. I mean, it had Chrono Cross, Xenogears, Breath of Fire 3 and 4 are considered the best of the series. It just goes on, honestly. Like Castlevania, if you want to consider that a JRPG, that's that. You could. I kind of do. Like it has elements, but I mean, it's again a crossover, like an interesting. That's where they took that series where they're like, oh, let's put an RPG in it because that's what people like now. There's a lot. There's just so much on the PS1 era, but a lot of it you can get on PS5. So, but if it's just the concept, then yeah, PS1. Whew, incredible.
I would probably argue PSP maybe could be up there. PSP had a lot. That's kind of like what it is. And like Vita also had some, but like Vita died. Like Sony gave up. Sony birthed the Vita and dropped it in a year. Like, okay, fuck this thing. But PSP was pretty heavy with the JRPG scene at least. So that might be a good one.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I liked it. I had a PSP, and I think did I trade that in? No, I don't know what happened with that. PS Vita I liked again, but I think mine broke. So, but that one had Persona 4 Golden on it before it came out on PC. That was awesome. But yeah, I don't know the handhelds as much.
I feel like this one's going to be more touchy because as opposed to like Nintendo and Xbox where you can objectively look at the libraries, here like all of the Sony consoles had a decent amount of RPGs at least, you know. So I feel like here it's going to be more of the argument of like the people that are probably going to comment and say something about this. They're probably just going to say what their favorite Sony console was, and that's going to be their answer because it's like, oh man, I love the PS2, so you probably liked a lot of the PS2 RPGs, or you like you played PS3, you like the games on PS3.
It's probably
PS4, same thing.
It's probably gonna have a direct correlation with how old they are. I would guess.
Yeah.
The worst would be PS3. I just think that's the beginning of them really just fighting their own legacy and just being like, we're not this anymore. And granted, they did 13. But it was like the worst Final Fantasy they've ever made, which is hilarious. Yeah, I just feel like the PS3 they were confused. They were a sad company.
It had RPGs, probably as much as the 360, but it's just as like compared to the other PlayStation consoles, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the least.
Yeah.
So.
Whereas like PS4, you could argue didn't have a lot if we're looking at them console by console, but they did have Dragon Quest 11, and Persona 5, which are like the two staple from that generation.
Nier Automata was huge, 2017. That was only on PS4 at first. I mean, it did come to stuff later on with other editions, but that was a big one.
That was a big one. I'll never understand why, but that was a big one.
So, okay. The last one is sort of a joke. It's sort of a joke, but
I'll have a real answer.
Okay, I want to hear your answer. What is the Sega? What is the best one to play RPGs on, and what is the worst one to play RPGs on? And there's only 4 Sega home consoles, and
what are they?
One handheld. The 4 home consoles are the Sega Master System, the Sega Genesis, the Sega Saturn, and the Sega Dreamcast. And then, of course, there's the Game Gear.
Mm-hmm. The Genesis is for RPGs the best. You have the Phantasy Stars. I heard 4 is actually like really, really good. And I played 1, almost beat it. I was gonna work on it with you guys but it just kind of didn't work out. But I was so surprised by how good 1 was. I was like,
that's a Master System game.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, 2, 3, and 4 are on Genesis.
Okay. Well, I imagine they get better. I heard 2 is a little bit of a slog, but I just imagine they get better from there. But I heard 4 was like amazingly good. Like that's like one of the big ones. But I was impressed by how good 1 was. So I'm assuming the rest of the series is pretty good. What about Shining Force 2? Is that Genesis?
Yeah, Shining Force 1 and 2, are on Genesis.
Okay. Shining Force 2, I don't like 1, but Shining Force 2 is phenomenal. Especially if you're like a Fire Emblem fan. That's like Fire Emblem, but with like a map that you can actually explore. Really cool stuff. I think they have more than that too. We played one that wasn't really an RPG, but Teddy wanted to do it. It was fun. It was good. It just I don't know if I consider it an
RPG. Beyond Oasis, right?
Beyond Oasis.
And then there's also there is Shining in the Darkness, which I actually got into recently. That's like a dungeon crawling, like a first person, almost like Fantasy Star 1 in a way, but just focused on dungeon crawling. But it was cool.
I think in Japan too, there's some SMT games for the Genesis.
Yeah, and there's also some they've just now got localized, but there's like 3 RPGs that were only in I think it was like China or some territory for a while that just got re-released and like
Wow.
translated. So it's like I've played one of them. I have them on every cartridge or somewhere. They like one of those publishers did it,
Mhm.
and I was like, oh, cool! Like Genesis RPGs I never played before. Um, it's funny you said Genesis. I was going to argue Saturn, but not the Western library because that's the
Okay.
caveat, right? Because like
Mhm.
if you're playing the Japanese library, yeah, you're set. If you're playing the Western library, no, you
I
don't
don't know
have
enough
anything.
about the Saturn to make a good call. I know that Shining Force 3 came out there, and it was pretty good. I played a little bit of it, like on an emulator. It seemed good, but didn't really go much further than that. But what else do they got over there?
There's two more Shining games, which I do have the Shining in the Darkness and no, and Shining the Holy Ark. I think that's what they are, or no, not Shining in the Darkness. I forget what it's called, but there's two other Shining games, along with three. Um, but then I believe they re-released the Fantasy Star games all together, like a bundle.
Mm.
So you have four Fantasy Star games there, ready to go. And I'm not. There are other ones, but I don't know a lot of Japanese, so I can't tell you the names. But there's like I think like the Sakura Wars, those games. Do you know what those are?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. I think that started there, and
Oh,
then
should
there's
have
like some. I
died
think
there.
the first Grandia, I think, is a
Oh
Saturn
no.
game. Yeah, yeah. So, but they exist. You
Now,
know what I
Granny
mean?
is fine. I'm sure. Just I know Terry will never shut up about
They
that.
so there's technically more on Saturn than Genesis probably, but the caveat is it's the Japanese library
Mhm.
as opposed to what we got, which was
That
nothing.
would make sense. That would make sense.
They were
Maybe.
like, "You guys over there want to play Shining Force 3? Cool. We're gonna give the Americans Bug." You know,
Yeah.
so
Some questionable stuff over here. Yeah. I don't know. Dreamcast had what? Skies of Arcadia, Fantasy Star
right.
Online.
Yeah, dude, that's a big one. Hell yeah, dude. Grandia too. Yeah, bring up Grandia. Yeah, then
Grandiose.
you know, you counted it as one. There's technically two Shenmue games if you want to count those.
Those would be a negative. Those would be RPGs that, yes, they are RPGs, but they count against you. That's like the Quest
Uh,
64. It actually counts against your
oh
score.
no.
Yeah.
I don't yeah, but other than that, I don't know what other RPGs are on Dreamcast. It was I mean, it lasted 2 years, so it's not like it you know.
Yeah.
It's not like they had a lot of time. um yeah, I don't know. Probably Master System's probably the worst. You have Fantasy Star 1 though, so that's good. All right, let's move on. I'm tired of talking about RPGs. Let's just do something else, Spencer.
Okay.
Let's throw this weeb shit out the window. Let's talk about our next segment. Our next
Okay.
segment is a segment that I do every episode. It is a segment where you, Spencer, you get to make a crucial decision at this point in the show. You're going to guide where this show goes from here because this
Ooh.
segment is eat it or beat it. So you get to pick whether you want to hear about a game I've beaten recently or something I've eaten recently. And whatever you pick for me, you have to talk about the vice versa.
Well, you wouldn't want to know anything that I eat because I'm very, very boring in the
Okay.
culinary world. So I only eat chicken and hamburger meat. So um, I will talk about a game. You can talk about a food that you eat, and I will judge you
Thank
for it.
God. Thank God I didn't beat anything recently. I was struggling for this segment. I was like trying to plan this episode and no joke, because I just started a job, so I'm going through a lot of stuff with that. So like I haven't really had time to play a lot of games. So like I was trying to think of like what game I've beaten recently, and I'm like, I don't fucking know. so, so I was gonna bring up some bullshit game. But I'm glad you chose Eat It for me. Because you know, I haven't really eaten anything too crazy, you know, recently. Just a lot of home cooked meals mainly. But I did rediscover the magic of something I haven't had in a very long time, Chinese takeout. And I had some Chinese takeout the other night. It's fucking good. I don't eat a lot of takeout, but I was visiting my parents and they got takeout and they asked me what I wanted. So I got some curry beef
Hell yeah.
and Hell yeah, dude. And it was fucking awesome. I had some curry beef and some white rice and some crab ragoons. And I was living the high life.
What are those crab rangoons? Are so good. Like what the
Yeah.
hell? What do they put in that?
Crack. That's what they put
It's
in.
gotta be crack. It's so.
I got
good.
an order of like 5, and I didn't share them. I
No,
did.
no, my girlfriend doesn't really like that stuff, so I always get them and I'm like, "You want
Oh.
this? No, okay."
Should not like Chinese food, or like
No, she likes it. She just doesn't like
out?
that.
Oh, okay. So
And so I always
living
buy
my
enough
life.
for her. It's like, well, there's enough for 2 people. Oh well. I just start eating them all.
Oh
Delicious.
no. Hey, Spencer, you've eaten 16 crab
Yeah.
ragoons.
I'm more crab than man. More rangoon than man.
Like I've had Americanized Chinese, because it's not actual Chinese food. It's fucking what we have. It's sugary gold shit that we eat. We're like, this is what they eat over there. It's not.
You don't
But
want what they
like
eat over there.
I like some tradition. Like we used to have a place nearby that served traditional Chinese
Nah,
cuisine.
nah. I'm not in the streets of China. You don't want that.
Oh, okay, that's true.
Mm.
Whoops, I got typhus. So, um, so yeah, I mean, like, I've been to like some like Chinese buffets, but that's sort of different. Like at a Chinese buffet, you just kind of go in and you just kind of throw things onto a plate. And you're like, whatever, I'll eat like some of this shit and some of that, like different types of chicken and shit. But like whenever you actually like order takeout, you're just like you have to pick like one item from a menu and like that's your meal, man. And yeah, I haven't had that in a while. I was appreciating it. I like curry a lot, so get curry beef is good.
I
It's a
went
good choice.
I went to a Chinese buffet recently. I haven't been in forever. But my girlfriend and I, we were off. Obviously I was off. that's kind of my thing now. Uh, but
Yeah, that's my thing.
yeah, we were like, let's just go to a buffet. Like, why not? And she said, yeah, let's do it. And she liked it. I didn't really like it. I went to the buffet and I just thought maybe my palate has expanded, or maybe what's the opposite of expand? Inspand.
In span.
Palate.
Inwardly spanned.
Yeah, my Edward is in spanning as we speak. To just like really narrow down to like chicken and stuff. Just for health reasons, I like to have like very, very pure food. And I ate it and it just felt like salty and at the same time salty and flavorless. So I was very disappointed at the buffet. But yeah, like legit, like where you go, like we have Chen Wok here. I don't know if that's a national thing or something, but like Chinese food, when you take it out, that stuff's so good. And it comes in like the square box. Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, no. And I've watched them back there before making the food, and
You
I
got
swear
it.
to God, they'll like make the food. They'll make the food, and then they'll like stuff it into the fucking container. They're like,
I
oh,
love
they're like
that.
trying to close it, and I'm like, yeah.
Yes. Don't cheat me. They're good about
I,
that.
I used to love buffets, but I think they kind of cheapen like your dining experience a little bit
For sure.
because you're not appreciating the food. You're appreciating the amount of food. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
like if I go to a Chinese buffet or like I think like what else I've been to recently. There's not a lot of buffets anymore. I've been to like I went to a Golden Corral and like
Oof.
fucking I think it was like 2017 or 2016 somewhere in there,
Mm.
and like like you don't appreciate the quality of food. You're just appreciating the fact that there's a ton of it.
Well, I think there's an understood thing where the food does
Yeah.
not have quality. It's in like the shape of the food that it is, but they all taste like generic salted something.
So like yeah, I went to a Chinese buffet like a month ago, and like I guess it might have been because of COVID and stuff, but like where I just wasn't going to those anymore. But like yeah, my like experience is flipped. Like I used to love going to the Chinese buffets, and I was like, like I probably won't go for a while, or like I think I only went then because somebody invited me. So it's probably like if somebody invites me, I'll be like, sure, I'll go to the buffet, but
Yeah.
actively myself, I probably won't. So,
Yeah. It was disappointing, but it is what it is. I think it's maybe just for younger people that that want to enjoy a buffet. They don't really have a taste yet.
I don't see a lot of younger people doing that now. A lot of younger people are more health conscious anyway. You know.
Could be, yeah. That wasn't like that when I was younger.
Oh yeah, well yeah. Whenever I was younger, man, you have, you go to the $5 Chinese buffet with your buddies and you fucking eat. You
Yeah,
know? Like
yeah. Can you
that's how it
believe we
was.
get this much food?
Or like a pizza buffet. Actually, no, that's true. No, there is a pizza buffet nearby, and I did go to
That would be
that.
fun.
But that's good. I like pizza buffets though, because it's just pizza.
Yeah, yeah.
Like even bad pizza's pizza.
I almost 100% agree with you, except I have had pizza that I could not finish.
Mm.
And I was shocked. I was shocked as you are. That should not happen. There should not be a pizza that is inedible. But
Yeah.
I've had it. It was like they made it on. They didn't even make it on dough. They made it on like some kind of bread. It was weird. It was like I couldn't. It was during COVID, so maybe there's just like rough times or something. But we were like, let's try this pizza place that's near us that I've never been to before. And I brought it home.
We ran out of dough, so we used a sponge.
It could have been. The consistency was so bad, and I remember we just were like, we're not finishing this, and she's like, no, and I said, that's incredible. That's that deserves a Google star rating. That's something.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, pizza's hard to mess up. I mean, like I said, even if it's not good, it's still pizza. It's still better than most other things because it's fucking pizza.
Cheese, tomato sauce, a pepperoni. Come on, like
yeah. So, all right. Well, yeah. So I had some Chinese takeout. It was good. I enjoyed it. Spencer, what the hell did you beat?
Well, it's funny you're asking that because I'm literally on my third. I'm at the final boss of Elden Ring for the third time. So I'm like, I'm gearing up for the expansion. It's coming out next month.
It's gonna expand your asshole, right?
Inspand
it. Okay.
It's gonna tighten me up. But I haven't beaten it, so let's not talk about it. Instead, let's talk about the Minish Cap because we both. And that I figured this would bring you into it. Is we're playing it for the button mappers. It's a weird game for me because it's my favorite Zelda, but on playing it again, I'm realizing that it's just for very, very personal tastes that it's my favorite.
Yeah.
Zelda. I don't think it's a bad one, but it's not as epic as I remember it being. But I still adore it for just how cute it is. I remember it coming out around the time that the DS came out, to the point where I bought a DS with Mario 64 DS, which I still think is the best one. Come at me. But after that, I'm like, what else do I get for this thing? And I remember just being at a Target and having enough money for 2 games. And I said, okay, what 2 games am I going to get? And I looked at all the DS games. They all looked like shit. But I did get one. It was called Mr. Driller. It was like a puzzle game. And that game sucked. But I was like, what else am I going to get? Like, all these games look like shit. And I was looking around. Okay, technically this thing can play Game Boy Advance games. What games are there for that? I was like, oh yeah, the new Zelda came out, but it was on the Game Boy Advance. Let's get that. Let's just do it. And so I got that, obsessed with it. It literally, like, for about, I guess, 2 or 3 weeks, however long, it was like my life was playing that game. And it's one of the few games I've legitimately 100%ed. So there's a lot of things you can do in that game aside from the main quest. And one of them is collecting statues from like a machine that you just put in coins, and the more you get, the more you need to hit a percentage of that you'll get a new statue. And I got all the statues from it. I remember doing that. So 100% of it. I find it just delightful. But before I talk more about it, that's the Minish Cap. And I know that you've started it. What are your thoughts so far?
So I just want to preface this with saying that anything I say here is prior to me beating the game. So get ready for that map out because my opinions could change or they could be different during that episode. Right now, it's definitely not a bad game. Stretch. It's Zelda, but I right now I've kind of felt that it leans a, and I get why because it was around what year was it? Probably like 2005 something. So it's probably like around the time of Wind Waker was out and they were hyping up Twilight Princess. So that era of 3D Zelda was in effect. A lot of the stuff in this game feels to me like 3D Zelda, but in a 2D form.
Okay.
And I don't really like 3D Zelda that much, so it's kind of
okay.
It hasn't been a slog. I've enjoyed the dungeons and stuff, but like I enjoy the presentation, but it's not doing a whole lot for me outside of that so, right now.
And how far are you?
Second dungeon.
Second dungeon.
Not like I said. So everything could change by the end. I don't want to. This isn't my final thoughts, but just where I am right now. When I'm thinking of the game.
Why do you view it as 3D, but in 2D format? What does that mean?
It's okay. So like for my main issue with 3D Zelda, man, this is a whole different topic. Is the not the linear nature of the games. And that's something that yes, there is an order for most Zelda games. But a lot of them do encourage exploration, and I feel like a lot of 3D Zeldas don't encourage that, or they give you a ruse that you are exploring, but really you can't. You're not really supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's sort of how I'm feeling with this in a way. Like I can run around and explore, but to progress the narrative, I kind of have to hit key points, right?
Yeah,
and that's sort of my problem. That and like the trope of which this is really heavy in 3D Zelda. The trope of here's dungeon, here's item, use it for dungeon, that's it. And that's something I don't like either. It's like some of the items in those Zelda games feel like they're only made for necessity of that one area, that one dungeon, and then you don't really have to think about it ever again. And a lot of them do that as well.
Okay. Yeah, I think Twilight Princess had the worst of that I can remember.
Oh yeah, remember, there was like that one dungeon where you like rode a top, like a spinning top.
That was the worst.
And then yeah. Then it was like, okay, well,
that is actually where I stopped playing that game. Is in that dungeon. I was like, this is like completely unrelated to any Zelda thing that's happened before, and it just feels like I'm playing Tony Hawk Zelda. Like this is dumb. So I just stopped playing. Yeah.
Yeah. So. And again, I know people like that stuff, but it's just personal taste. I'm not a big fan of 3D Zeldas, and that's some of the key points why. And I see some of that kind of popping up here.
Okay. So. Yeah. Well, just keep at it. Maybe some of that will change. I think they do a good job of. Like one thing I noticed of it is that it tells you your next destination. But doesn't really tell you the steps you need to get there because they like as you get further on, you can't just go there anymore. Like it's like, oh, but you'll need to do something else, and maybe multiple things, and maybe you'll need to
I do appreciate that, but I also don't appreciate the fact that they actively block off certain areas though. So they'll be like, oh yeah, but like, so like if it's like you need to go to this area, but it's like, okay, but then it's like you can't explore the other areas yet. Like I'm thinking of like Link to the Past did that, like where they had the markers.
Yeah.
But you could still explore the other areas if you wanted to, technically. So like you can still go there for the most part. I think maybe some of the like a few of the areas you may have needed items for, but still. You could do it.
Yeah.
So
well, I will tell you that
gated at points.
The world is pretty small. Honestly, like it's not. There's not. It's pretty tight, and that was kind of one of the reasons I picked it. Is Zelda, but pretty tight.
Which I mean, it's a GBA game, so it makes sense.
Yeah. But I think what's in there is very packed, and yeah, maybe that'll change, or maybe it won't. but that'll be cool to hear about once you're further along later. So
curious to see what you're talking about with the statues, with the capsule toy statues or whatever they are, the gambling statues.
oh, I won't be doing that this round. There's
no, but like that's the sign of like a good ass game, dude. Like I mean, like there's few games that I've beaten many games, but there's few games that I've done that much for, you know, but like I kind of missed that point in my life where I could play a game like this and like it just absorbed me for, you know, a month or something, you know, and you want to do all that, you know, and it's very rare that I get that anymore. For one, because I'm an adult and I have to like do things and I can't sit around and play games all day, but also because like we do a podcast and I do this channel and like I'm usually hopping around. So it's rare that I get to experience that anymore.
If you're in the second dungeon, you haven't touched kinstones yet, right?
No.
Okay. I was.
No, wait. I just learned about them actually.
Okay. I'm very curious what your thoughts are on kinstones because I think they're probably the greatest thing in the game. They are so much fun.
I just learned about them and the Castle Town and so and then I'm at the mountain area right now, so haven't experienced it much yet.
Okay, I'd be curious to see what your thoughts are on that because I love that, and I just love exploring the world from two different perspectives as like a miniature. Like, have you gone around town as a mini?
No.
Okay, well, you know, spoiler, you get to walk around that whole town as a mini Link, and it's like a different way to view the whole world. It's so cool. Anyway, I don't want to spoil too much for you on that one, but Zelda, that game is, I love that game, and I think it surprises people because it's I like it for just how adorable it is. It's just a very cute game.
Yeah.
When a lot of my friends that are, you know, my age or something, they're talking about games. It's like, yeah, I like Dark Souls because I like stabbing things and blood dripping out, and like they rip a head off and put it on their shoulder, and it's like, okay, I like the Minish Cap because it's cute.
Well, it harkens back to a particular time for the Zelda franchise where it like the art direction was just Wind Waker games, like that style.
Yeah,
like that was sort of it, like until Twilight Princess and like a little after that. I mean, and even for a while after Twilight Princess, it's still kind of like basically it was like Wind Waker came out, and then like both of the Four Swords games, this game, and both of the DS games, and then even carried over into that Triforce Heroes game. Like they kind of like had this style, this like Wind Waker cell shaded style. That
it's like portable kind of like games will be this.
Yeah, it was like the brand. I think the only one that didn't do it was Link Between Worlds. That was because it was Link to the Past, you know?
Yeah.
Like, other than that, like, yeah, it was all sort of in this style. So it was kind of, it's cool to like play this game and being like, oh yeah, this was like the Zelda brand for me.
Yeah.
So, kind of neat.
So all right. Stay tuned for the button mappers to see the official map out for it.
I could love it by the end. I've never finished this game, so I could love it by the very end of it. Who knows?
Who knows?
Who knows? Find out on the button mappers. Will I complain about Zelda mechanics? The next segment is from attitude to gratitude. It is the mental health exercise where we are going to talk about a negative aspect of, you know, something that's happened recently. It doesn't have to be too serious, but, you know, something kind of brought you down a little bit. And then we're going to talk about something good that's happened to you recently. Kind of go back and forth. And I'll go first. So starting out, we always do our attitudes first, which is our negative thing. And it's not really a negative thing, but it is something that has, you know, kind of weighed on me, is the fact that I did start a new job. And that is a stressful process of not only having to learn a new profession and go through the training requirements, but also just meet a lot of new people and like kind of just you kind of have to live in that like headspace of being the new guy for a while, you know, like you're not comfortable anywhere right now, you know. So like I've been going through that, and like that's probably my least favorite, like probably one of my least favorite feelings in the world is being the new person at a job and kind of having to experience all that. So again, the job itself isn't going poorly. I've been enjoying it, but it's just the stress and from that process is, you know, kind of, been on my shoulders for a couple weeks, and it'll, of course, eventually it'll alleviate because I won't be the new guy, but I'm still there.
Got you. Well, it'll get better. It's just be kind. That's all you can do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to be kind and make as many friends. I'm not trying to come across as an asshole.
I think one thing that I would be cautious about, and granted that it might not apply to that job, but I know when you get to a new place, it's very easy to compare it to previous places you've worked at or like processes or something, and you're just like, well, back where I come from, we didn't do it that way. People hate to hear that.
Oh yeah,
people fucking hate that. So yeah, just try to avoid too much of that, and just try to be open to how they do it, and maybe there's a reason they do it that way that just doesn't click yet, but it will. So
yeah, like I said, it hasn't been bad, but it's just it kind of that feeling of starting a job and then the people that have already been there for 10, 20 years, then
oh fuck,
you feel like a little peon, you just kind of it's kind of like they're this is their life. They come in, they fucking do the job, and then they go home, and and they so they'll be they'll ask you a question hey, do you have the 1028 form, and you have to try to shuffle in your brain to remember what the hell that even is, but to them that's just something they say every day, so
yeah.
It's kind of like that.
And I've always seen it not obviously not like a doctor or lawyer, but for our roles or whatever, if you've been there for 10 years, what are you doing? Why would somebody be in the same position for 10 years? You got to grow. I always found that people that were in my positions for a long time were angry and seemed unfulfilled and just not great people to be around.
Yeah, I had that at one of my jobs. The job I was at the longest, where I moved up through the company, and I noticed that I got multiple promotions throughout that company, and every time the people that had been there in those positions for longer than me, way longer than me, were upset whenever I was up. They'd be like, well, why did you get to? It's
right.
Well, obviously you're doing something wrong.
Right.
if you're not, it's ask yourself that.
Yeah. Yeah, you really got to think about why somebody would be in a one position for that long. That's what my girlfriend, she'd see teachers, and they're like, she's been here for 30 years, and you'd talk to her, and she's like a complete bitch. It's she hates it. She literally cries every day. It's just she's been here for 30 years.
There's some people that stay in those career positions just for retirement and stuff, and I get that,
Yeah. Yeah, that's why she's doing it. It's so she can collect a good retirement. But it's
yeah,
you could have moved up. You'd still have your retirement. You could. There's things you can do that aren't this, or you could change grades. Try a different grade. Who knows?
Yeah.
But doing the same thing for that long is usually not a good sign. Unless it's like a doctor. Well, it's about where it ends. You could do that for 10 years or 30 years or whatever, and you're fine. But for most of our stuff, it's try to move or grow or something.
Yeah. Well, Spencer, what you got? That's enough of my work talk.
Well, I'll do my lack of work talk. Yeah, I got laid off. It started in January, and they're like, you have 2 months to find a new role, or else you are being fired. And I was like, can you hire me for a new role? And they said no.
So basically it was nothing. Wow.
Yeah, so for 2 months I was going through my contacts, which I have a lot of, and just do you need me? And they're like, we don't have any open positions. And I was like, cool. Well, if you do, you know who to talk to. They never did. And yeah, it was just a lot of that. There was some, I don't want to say depression. I don't really get into the mental health stuff too much, but there was certainly I think I went through and I'm still struggling with like imposter syndrome. You know what that is?
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like I thought I did a lot of really great things there, and everyone always told me like they love my work and they loved working with me. And then this happened, and everyone was surprised that I told. They said, well, "That's weird. Like it's just some CEO just put my name on a list, and that's it, I guess." But then you try to find a job like outside of that, and you get a lot of rejection, and you get a lot of
you like have to reset almost, and it feels weird.
It's bizarre, and it's like some of the positions I applied for, they're just like, be the SharePoint administrator of this, which I've done for 8 years. I've done SharePoint. I've done everything involved with tech involved in that. I know how to code. I know how to do all this stuff, and it's like some of these positions I just wanted to get in and just do it for a while, maybe move up or keep looking for something else, but just get in. And you look at that, and it's they're like, no, we found somebody more qualified. I'm like, more qualified than me? Like, this is like beneath me. This position is like you'd be underutilizing my skills. Like, you found somebody more qualified than me. And it probably has a lot to do with how my resume is built. I think now they use a lot of AI tools, and there's ways to trick it. I haven't done it yet, but I'm maybe this will get into the positives later, but we'll save that. So, but yeah, just like trying to understand, because I've worked for Humana for 12 years. I haven't looked for a job in forever. I thought I was going to retire there. I probably shouldn't even said the name of the company, but I guess at this point it doesn't matter because I don't work there. But I loved it. I had a great experience there. Clearly they're going through some times right now. So
yeah, see, I thought they were getting closed, right? They were.
Yeah, I know some stuff on the inside I probably shouldn't say, so I won't say it. But they're having a rough time for sure. There's rules in Medicare, and the contract with Medicare got worse. So like they get reimbursed less money for every claim, and therefore we can't give people as good of deals, and therefore the amount of people that the customers we have dwindled dramatically. And I can tell you for a fact that more will happen, more layoffs. It's just happening to that company, and that's unfortunate. I really loved it there. Nothing but positive things to say about anybody I worked with there, and it's sad that it had to just come down to the numbers. But I guess that's what a business is, right?
Yeah.
So that's been a struggle. I'll save the rest because the positives kind of tie into that. But
okay.
But that's been the struggle. That's been the struggle.
Okay.
Luckily, I mean they paid me 6 months of severance, so I still get a check until like the end of September.
That's nice.
So I'm super grateful for everything they've done, and again, I have nothing but positive things to say about them. They're an awesome company. It just didn't work out for this situation, and don't worry about me. I just want that to be known. People listening, don't worry about me.
Yeah, it's easy for like to hear about layoffs like that and to villainize a company. Like you always hear about that, like in games, especially. You hear about it all the damn time. It's like, oh man, EA laid off 500 people from this studio.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh man, they probably needed to. That's why they're probably not making the money.
Yeah, I love the concept of like the evil CEO who's just torturing his people. Like, it's like, no, they have to hit a certain amount of sales, and if they didn't, then somebody's got to go. Like, that's just how it is.
It's sad. Yeah, it's like I'm never gonna make fun of the people that lost their jobs. Like, that's not fun. But like, yeah, it's not some CEO. Like, some CEO didn't say, Spencer!
Yeah, I've been waiting years for this moment.
I've waited forever. Now I have a reason to push the button. Yeah, it's just like, shit happens, and here we are.
It sounds callous, but in a way, it's like the purest form. The person that really laid me off most likely didn't know my name. He probably knew my number because he saw it on an Excel spreadsheet and just checked it. That's literally it.
We're a cog.
I'm
cog in a machine, right?
Cog in a machine, and really, like, that's as good as you could have it. It wasn't like it was a mom and pop operation. It was a big corporation, and they had to make a decision, and that's what they did. So
cool. Let's move to gratitude. talk about some positives. And mine kind of ties into mine, and yours you said yours ties into yours. So it's a nice little end cap to the segment. With starting the new job, I've had a different schedule, which has actually been kind of refreshing a little bit because I've had to get up way earlier than I'm used to. But that also means I get a lot of the later portion of the day that I usually didn't get free. So like I'm home during like the evening and stuff,
Yeah.
and it's been nice. I've been playing Minish Cap. I'm playing it on the Wii U. Laugh, everybody laugh. And so I so I plugged up the Wii U into my living room, and I was like, well, I have this stupid thing out. I'm gonna play some other games. And so between playing Minish Cap, I've also been playing one of my favorite games, Monster Hunter 3. And that's been like a positive for me recently, is kind of like falling back in love with that game and just Monster Hunter in general. I had a realization though. Yesterday I streamed Monster Hunter World for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
and and this is coming off me playing like 10 hours of Monster Hunter 3 before that. And I mean, not the same day, but just like in days in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Monster Hunter now is way more accessible for new players, but man, is it not the same game anymore. I think
Really?
I think the adding so much of the accessibility, I think for me personally as a longtime fan and playing these games back to back, it kind of hurts the experience a little bit. It's a little too handholdy for me. Because like the older Monster Hunter games, basically up through like Generations, which I think was the last 3DS one, they give you an iron wall. And they're like, climb it. It's like, and once you get over that wall, you know the game. And newer Monster Hunter is sort of like they'll be like, oh look, you picked up a herb, we're gonna automatically make a potion for you. You look, there's tracks where you could find the monsters, and we're gonna have these little scout fly things that show you the way. And it's like, oh no, old Monster Hunter expected you to know. It was like, no, you picked up these items, you better know what to do with them, and you better know where to find this monster, and you better know what the fuck to do. So like going back, it's kind of like Dark Souls in a way. Going back to Monster Hunter 3 has been kind of refreshing because it's just like I haven't played this in a while, and I'm like, oh man, I forgot how fucking brutal these games were. So yeah, it's been a ton of fun.
Yeah, I had a similar experience with that when they did WoW Classic, World of Warcraft Classic. Is like they've gotten so handhold. I mean, the game is completely different now. It now like modern WoW is all just like a single player experience that they somehow made as an MMORPG. Like you can see other people, but the game is completely playable by yourself, and the world scales with you, so you can never really challenge yourself, which is terrible. I don't really know why they. I mean, I can guess why they did that, but I think that's offensive. And then you go back to like classic WoW and they released it, and you just start dying over and over, and you're like, why is this so fucking hard? And you remember like, okay, oh yeah, I actually like things will kill you, and you have to know how to play the game and understand and make some friends to actually do stuff in this game now. So I feel you on that. And I like that you brought up Dark Souls because well, Elden Ring got me into it, and I think there's a level of accessibility to it, but it's still not like that handholdy. And I think they probably did it right to try to get more people in to get it, is because it got me. And from there, I branched off and played Dark Souls and Bloodborne, which I fucking love. I don't even know which one I like more, Bloodborne or Elden Ring. They're both really good for completely different reasons. That's another tangent. But it is a trick of a company to try to broaden your appeal while maintaining your audience. That is so difficult, and you see lots of companies struggle with that, for sure.
Yeah, the online discourse surrounding Monster Hunter, and I like the newer games, and I kind of I've been playing them as they release, and that's probably why I didn't notice this, because I've been playing them as they release, so it's like I just sort of, it just kind of evolved with me, so I just kind of got used to it. But going back, it hits me like a ton of bricks. And if you go online, you can tell which players started with the old games, which players started at World, because World brought in a whole new audience. Like that game was super successful,
right?
But within that, the people that started with World and maybe moved on to Rise, they go back to those older games, they don't know how to play it. They're like, this is hard. I don't know what I'm doing. So that's
Yeah.
that. It's funny to see that discourse online because you could tell who played, who started with like the first, second, third generations, and then now they're on the fifth generation, and you could tell who's from Gen 5 because like they can't play the older games.
Well, yeah, UI is a tricky thing because UI, you would argue a good UI automates things for you that are not really gameplay related. But to an extent, sometimes the gameplay is the monotonous, is the tedious, is the things that you have to see without being shown, if that makes sense. Like the tracks. Like imagine seeing tracks and it's like, well, in the old games, you just have to find the tracks and like be looking at the ground and find it. Well, they probably said, you know what? Why are we forcing everybody to do that when we could just show them where the tracks are and then they can
No,
follow
no,
it from there?
the old games didn't. Okay, so the old games didn't even have tracks.
Mm.
So there were no tracks. So then in World, it's like so say in the old games, it's like hunt a Kuropeko thing. You're like okay, and then you go into the area, you have to figure out where it is, and then you have to place a paintball. That way, if it runs away, you can still track it.
Mm.
But in the newer ones, all you have to do is find a few of the tracks on the ground of that monster, and then it'll automatically highlight where it is before you even encounter it, and then where it'll go if it runs from the encounter.
Oh,
So
wow.
almost completely changes how you play the game.
Right.
It, like automates it.
Yeah, it's again just the UI. It's a positive, but it's also a curse, and it's something that's affected a lot of games where it's the things that made the game what they are sometimes those things that you think just should be automated, but once they are, it's the gameplay is completely lost, which is it's weird.
I see playing World on stream. Maybe it was fun. I still had fun with it, but like I would never call that game my favorite. And like I slayed some monsters and I was like, cool, yeah. But I never felt like a sense of accomplishment. And then I moved over after I got done streaming. I made dinner and stuff. And then I was like, okay, I could play for a little bit before I have to go to bed. So I moved over to play 3 again, and I had to do this mission where I had to just all I had to do was trap this monster. But to do that, I have to weaken it, not kill it. And if I kill it, I fail the mission. I have to weaken it, and then I have to use a trap to stun it, and then I have to use tranquilizer bombs, like 7 of them, fucking to get them to fall asleep. And I failed this mission, no joke, 5 fucking times before I got it last night. And the sense of satisfaction after I fucking got it, I was like, yes! And I was like, man, I did not feel any of this earlier playing World.
Wow.
So.
Maybe those would be more fun. That series, I've tried it on the PSP, and I just could not.
Oh yeah, you were playing like Freedom or one of the Freedom Unite or one of those.
Freedom rings a bell. And then I tried Rise with some friends. We played with 4 people, so it should have been a blast. But I don't know.
Dude, that game's worse than World when it comes to tracking the monster because they literally just put it on your minimap. They're like, it's over there.
Yeah.
It's like there it is.
And I just remember like these fights just going on for forever, and I'm like,
well, that's a staple.
I hate that. I was like, do my combo, and then it's like this. I'm just checking the clock. Like this is going on for 15 minutes, and we're just constantly rolling, hitting it. Oh, it ran away. Let's go catch it. Okay, hit it. And then I remember.
That means that means you're fighting it wrong.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, because every monster has a certain weakness or like a certain way you need to approach it. So if you're playing a Monster Hunter fight and it's taking you 40, 50 minutes, you're probably doing it wrong.
Oh, I said 15. 15 minutes.
Oh, okay, 15. No, there's some that can drag on to like 40 minutes. If you're doing it that long, 15 is not that.
But yeah, I remember baking off that what you just said. I was like, this is so long, and he was like bragging about the game, but I don't like the way that like kind of douche people do. He's like, oh, this is nothing. They get way longer later. And I was like, oh, I'm out. Like, this is fucking boring as it is. Like, I'm not playing, so I just stopped playing. I could not keep doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's for a certain audience. But just like a lot of those games, I mean, just like Dark Souls and stuff, any of those niche
Mm-hmm.
kind of genres, you know. So, but that's been my positive. Monster Hunter 3. Been playing it. I found out something. So whenever I played this back in the day, I have it on Wii U and I also have it on 3DS, and you could transfer your save data back and forth
Oh,
between
that's
each,
cool.
and that still works. You didn't need the online for that.
Oh,
You just connect your 3DS to your Wii U. So I've been doing that. I've been like playing it on my Wii U, and then I'll just transfer my save over to my 3DS, and then I'll keep playing on my 3DS. So
that's
that's why I've
really
been playing so
neat.
much of it. Oh yeah, it's great. And like none of the other games did that because I mean the Wii U failed. So like Monster Hunter 4 and well, 4 didn't come to console. That was just on 3DS. And then Generations did, but it's on Switch, and by that point it was like a re-release kinda. So like 3DS version wasn't relevant. But this is the only one where they've done two like a console and handheld variant at the same time. Of course, now it'd be irrelevant because the console is a handheld, but do it at the same time and then transfer your save. And that back in the day, that was fucking awesome. Like I remember playing this on like when it was new and being like, this is so cool that I can do this.
Yeah, that's really neat. I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah. All right, that's enough of me talking about Monster Hunter shit. What do you got?
Mm-hmm. Um, well, mine's not necessarily video game related, although I guess it kind of ties into it. But it just there's been some positives from it that you try to take from losing your job, and um, you learn like what's important to you, like what you'll do with time, and
Masturbate furiously.
well, I suppose that's only 5 hours. What do you do with the extra hour of your day? It's now free. Um, and yeah, it's just like thinking about like what you would do if you had all the time in the world. Like I've worked on my fitness a lot and just spend more time in there, just working on form, being more deliberate with everything. And I think I've made some significant strides there. You think about like your content and just try to be more careful with it. Honestly, ironically, I've probably put out less content than ever. Um, but it's because I've been thinking about what I want from the channel. But I'm still there. You need me. And I have interviewed for things, and I've gotten really far in a lot of the interviews. One of them took like 7 interviews, which was
Jesus.
2 of them were skill checks. So like you have to pass like a test that they give you. For one was for SQL, one was for CBA validation, or just CBA, and I passed both of them. Like I got the invite to the next meeting, so that kind of helped with the imposter syndrome, where it's like, am I like really? Do I know what I'm doing? And it's like, oh yeah, I guess I do, because I passed that, and so some of that's been interesting. Like I've made it to being the second choice a lot, which some of these companies are like nationwide. So I'm like, wow, that's really cool. Like I'm glad. Even if they didn't pick me, it's like at least I know I'm not like bad. Like I am a choice, so that's good. I actually got the position on one of them, and then the next Monday they canceled the role. So
Oh wow.
that was super frustrating. And there's a funny story that I probably shouldn't tell on here, but maybe I'll tell you off camera. That doesn't directly involve you, but it kind of does. And then I'm pretty confident that I got one role, so we'll see how that goes. I should know probably by the end of the week or next week. But yeah, just there's trying to take the negative part of it and turning it positive it takes effort, but I think you can do it. And there's been positives from it. Like I've grown, I think, from it and learned what I can do better and how I can avoid this later. Maybe I have ideas, but we'll see. We'll put it into practice.
Have you picked up any like hobbies or anything when you're just with your free time?
Not really, but I have.
Or like,
I like what you said about falling back in love with things. Now that I'm at the gym for a little bit longer, I get kind of bored with podcasts or music or whatever, or just a random music. So I've actually like switched to listening to full albums of things that I used to like.
Ooh,
And it's like, oh yeah, I remember like all these weird like deep cuts of these bands that I just missed. And well, that
that's
I
fun.
I used to like them, and then now I just pick the favorites and put them into a favorites playlist. But now I listen to the whole album. It's like, whoa, I forgot like the journey that some of these albums take, and it's like, wow, I listened to like a lot of Tegan and Sarah, and I was just like blown away by all the tracks that I just completely forgot about, or like I listened to whole Offspring CDs and was like, whoa, I can't. That's wild.
Mhm.
Just take you. If I mean, they might not be your favorite songs or anything, but they take you back to like different time periods of your life. Or like, I remember I was playing Zelda when I
Oh yeah.
heard this. It's like, whoa, that's crazy. That's shocking. Actually, some of it. So falling back in love with things, I like that term because it's like it's been wild of just going back and listening to some of that, like playing some games where it's like Minish Cap was kind of that, where it's like, oh, like I remember when I used to play things that aren't RPGs and would play like everything, and yeah, it's just weird in that way that you when you get free time, like what you do with it.
I I appreciate the time in my life before music streaming,
Mm.
where it's like you either got an album, like you just that's what you had to, that's what you had to listen to was like that album, yeah.
Yeah.
And I've sort of forced myself to re-experience that recently as well because I have so like I do listen to Spotify a lot, but sometimes when I'm driving, especially because I have longer commutes because of that, I live out in the country. I have a CD player and I have like some CDs in my car, so I try to listen to those a lot.
Mm.
So like that, yeah, it's been fun. Like I had that sort of experience recently where I was like, I was taking a drive. I had like a good, 25 minutes, and I was like, I'll put on a CD. So I popped up my CD case and I put in a Megadeth CD I hadn't heard in a long time.
Oh.
Yeah, dude. And like some of the songs, I was like, oh shit, I forgot this song even existed because it was like I think the CD was like Hidden Treasures, which is like a cut thing. It's like all cuts of songs and stuff. But like I used to know them, because I like Megadeth a lot, as a teenager and stuff.
Mhm.
So it's like I'm like listening and I'm like, holy shit, I forgot about this. Like this is cool,
Damn.
And I even when I stream, sometimes I'll try to stick to albums and stuff. But like, because I it's sort of like the buffet thing. Like sometimes if you just sort of have this like this a bunch of a playlist of a bunch of songs or like you kind of you don't appreciate the music as much sometimes
For
like
sure.
as opposed to like listening to a full album you know uh,
Well, like a CD or an album, whatever you want to call it, is paced a certain way, and
yeah
like there's ups and there's downs and there's like conclusions and it's so sometimes I'd be listening to one of the CDs and I'd be like, or one of the albums, and I'm like, oh, I should just skip it. Like this song is like, and I'm like, no,
you're like
let's
cheating
just
yourself.
let's just experience it. And maybe I don't love this song, but it ends and then the other song starts after it, and it's like this high thing. It's like, whoa, that picks up like amazingly, and you forget like the pacing of it, and there's something to listening to a whole CD all the way through, and it's you'll know like a good band when they can make that work,
Yeah, I mean,
like the Killers, just
I
like can make an amazing CD.
I'm into collecting vinyl, and that's a lot of things that people don't get about vinyl is that like you can't just skip a song. You I mean, it means you want to scratch up your record, sure, but like you can't just be like, I want to hear this one song, and you have to like find it on the no, like you start an album and like a record, you have to listen to the whole damn thing, or that side at least, you have to flip it, but still, like whatever 3 4 songs are on that side, that's what you got, and that's what you're listening to,
Yeah,
so
that's
in that
crazy.
order. So and there's some newer stuff that like I only like in album format. Sometimes that's like that's how it happens. Because like whenever a band or like an artist I like release an album, I try to listen to the album and not just the songs
Mhm.
first. And sometimes it's to its detriment. Because like sometimes I only end up liking a couple songs and I just pluck those. But sometimes I end up liking the album as a concept, and then I don't want to listen to it like in a playlist.
Yeah.
And that happened a couple of years ago. Don't laugh. But Weezer. I know when I say Weezer. But in 2021, they put out OK Human, uh, which is a concept album that's all it's like orchestrated Weezer songs, and they're all like reflecting that time, like the pandemic and stuff, and they're all like about isolation and stuff, and they all work together, and like that album's probably the best thing they've done since like their first album. It's so good, and like that album only works really as an album. Like if you the songs are good split up, but like it works well if you listen to just the whole thing. And yeah, I fucking love that album. So that's one of those that like I don't like listening to just the songs separately.
Yeah.
So cool. Music talk, man. How long you have the recording? I'm not doing it, so I can't monitor. How where we at?
205.
Oh damn, wow, this is the first time, because usually I try to do 2 hours is usually where I try to hit, or we can go over, it's fine. But this is the first time in Hey Geeks and Gamers history we finished all the segments except for the last one. And it's been at time. Usually we finish the segments and there's like 30 minutes left to go, or like 20 minutes left to go on the whole thing. So we did it, dude. Were we just talking too much about Chinese food?
Yeah. The Chinese talk got a little too crazy.
The China talk.
China talk, yeah.
Can't wait for China month.
It's going to be a good one.
Around the Mappers. We go to China.
Yeah, the Mappers go to China.
Dude, there was a well, you like Adult Swim, so I don't know, but I don't know how much of the current stuff you watch. None of it. So you haven't seen like the Smiling Friends series? It's good. It's a funny show, and they have a special episode called "The Smiling Friends Go to Brazil," but it's like 12 minutes. I mean, all the episodes are like 12 minutes, but like the whole episode is about the four characters getting to the airport, like landing in Brazil, and then realizing that they like the guy that was supposed to book the hotel didn't do it, and the whole thing is just them in the airport trying to figure out what they should do because they didn't book the hotel, and then just deciding to go home. So it's like a travel episode, but it isn't at all. It's the funniest shit. It's just them arguing in an airport for 12 minutes. It's so fucking funny.
That reminds me of the like Always Sunny.
Oh yeah, they have concept episodes like that.
Where they're like where are they gonna go, like the Grand Canyon?
Yeah, the gang hits the road. Yeah, they don't end up. They don't leave Philadelphia. Yeah. My favorite, oh man, Teddy isn't here. We could talk about It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Oh my god, my favorite moment from that episode is whenever Charlie and Dennis, which is probably one of my favorite pairs, they have those wicker chairs in the back, and they were going to grill those hot dogs, and the grill slides out, so they decide to burn the wicker chairs, and then the next time you see them, they're just like unconscious. Yeah, everything full of smoke. They just fucking suffocated, passed out.
My thing is the pear, eating the pear, and he's like, it tastes like sand. Yeah, tastes like sand. You burned me, bro.
Like... Yeah, I eat Snickers all the time, dude. I like that one. Yeah, that's a good episode. That's like peak that's like season 5. That's like peak that show, dude. That's so good.
Yeah,
it's like I have the first 5 seasons of that show on DVD.
That's all you really need.
It's really. I mean, I might eventually just get them just to have them, or something. But like that's the only ones I have right now. And 5 is so fucking good. Like when I actually watch the DVDs, sort of like an album. You just watch the whole season. 5 is so fucking good, dude. Yeah. And like it's got like that episode. It's got the gang wrestles for the troops, which is one of the best fucking episodes in the series.
And it'll always hold a special place in my heart because it features Roddy Piper, who passed away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great show.
It has Ben the Soldier. And one of the funniest moments is just the moment where it's playing Kiss by, what's it called? Kiss by a Rose? What's that stuff like a song called? Seal.
Yeah. Kiss from a Rose or Kiss.
Yeah, Kiss from a Rose. That sounds right. And it's just D left, so it's just
Yeah,
it's just Danny
Frank
DeVito saluting to that song to pin the
holding
soldier.
jeans.
That's what holding a jeans. That's one of the funniest fucking moments. It's, like that's the kind of that's the thing. I was like, that's a whole different conversation. But like the newer seasons don't get that subtle humor like that. It's just like sometimes just
they
like
got they got captured
the little
by
moments.
they got captured by everybody else doing like woke stuff, and they're like, we'll do our own take on woke, but it's still woke. It's just like boring.
Yeah, the new season wasn't the worst, but it wasn't. It still wasn't like the old show.
Really, and I don't think this is even where they jumped the shark, but you could make an argument that Mac turning gay was like,
well, he's always been gay, right, but them acknowledging it,
them be going like he's gay now, and like we're gonna have like a serious dance moment, like it's over. Like this show's the show's done.
Yeah, they were like he's gay now, and that is his character.
Yeah,
and it's like, well, that wasn't his character.
Right, yeah. The joke was him everyone knowing that he's gay and him not, and him like trying to not be gay and going around doing stuff, and it's like, dude, you're gay. But like that was the joke, and then now it's like, oh, he's just gay now.
I get that it's supposed to be woke, but the jokes that they make now, where they make jokes now because he's gay, but they still make like he's a sexual deviant. It almost feels like it's just them saying gay people are sexual deviants. Because it's kind of like I'm like, I don't think that's the message you wanted to say, but that's what you're saying.
Well, that's the problem with opening that can of worms. It's like once you've done that, once you've established like a certain part of it, now all those rules start flooding in, and you're like, you have to play that game, and that's when a show isn't funny. When now you're playing like a certain kind of game, and I could get into all the politics of it, and I don't want to. But
the only episode of the newest season I could remember and tell you it's probably worth watching was the I forget what it's called. It was like Frank versus Russia, or Frank beats Russia. I forget what it's called, but it's an episode where Frank enters a chess competition, a chess game, and he was cheating.
Of course,
Charlie and Uncle Jack, yeah, he's there. Are like giving him. They were like watching what he does, and like when he goes to make a movement, they had like one of those restaurant buzzers, and they put it like in his pocket, so like they would buzz it whenever he needed to put it in the right spot. And so he was cheating his way through the competition. But I forget what happened at the very end, but there's like a whole other side plot with Gay Mac and T and Dennis like doing some dating thing or something. But Gay Mac has like a vibrating remote control dildo. So they don't have the buzzer at the end of the episode, but the episode ends with an unconscious Danny DeVito waking up mid chess tournament. And since they didn't have that anymore, they shoved the vibrating dildo up his ass. So it's just him in the middle of this chess tournament, like convulsing because he has like a vibrating dildo in his ass. Like it's like that was pretty funny. Like that was a good one. But like other than that, and that's only funny because Danny DeVito can play that kind of stuff off. Pretty well.
Well, he's a gem. I just remember somebody. I think it was like on a Facebook thing or something, but somebody was like, they were talking about one of the new seasons. It might have been the newest one, where Charlie, they're like in like Ireland or something, or Iceland.
Oh yeah, that was. I think that was. Yeah, this is 16. That was 15.
Okay,
because they did like half the season in Ireland.
And they're like, God, we know like this makes Charlie's character so much more interesting. And I was thinking to myself like, his character isn't supposed to be interesting. Like none of these characters. This is like the Seinfeld situation. Thankfully, Seinfeld knew when to end. Like these guys, like you're not supposed to like love these characters. You're just supposed to like.
Yeah, they're the bad people.
They're bad people that do stupid things and they suffer for it, and that's the show. And it's like anymore. Like I don't need them to have like an arc. That's kind of like antithetical to what that show is, and I just think that. To me, that show is just done. I mean, I'm sure there's some good episodes to it, but
I think they can save it, but it's the fact that do they want to and are they going to? That's the problem.
They have no incentive to save it. Like once
Yeah, yeah,
they've done the
yeah.
woke stuff, but they can't go back.
I,
They could, but
I
they would be burned at the stake. There's no point.
part of the issue to me was that the fact that when sorry, part of what I think their issue is that when this show started, the FX gave them $12 and was like, make a show.
Mm-hmm.
And then they gave them no attention for it, so they basically had to stand out.
Yeah.
And then now FX, like, that's their brand. Like, FX is like, yeah, we got Always Sunny. So like, I feel like now they don't have to stand out anymore. They don't have to work as hard as they did before.
Right.
Which, I mean, I guess is nice for them, but shit
that
for
was
us,
like,
because we're not getting the best show.
7 or something, or maybe 6. Or some of that season is where I started falling off because there were just scenes of them just shouting at each other at like the top of their lungs, and it was just that was the joke. Is like, we're mad at each other now. We're just gonna shout for like 2 minutes straight. It's like.
And they always did that, but it always resulted in something. Like, I always think of the dumpster baby episode, where like at the end of that episode, they're actively yelling at each other, but it ends with the lady from CPS coming in with them screaming at a suntanned baby, and like they're holding a sword above its head.
Yeah.
Like, that's the joke. Is that they get caught doing something stupid.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sure the show's got something good going for it, but to me, it's just kind of dead. It's like The Simpsons. I'm sure there's a good Simpsons episode here or there. I don't really know, but I ain't gonna watch it.
Yeah, there's. You know what? I've watched some of the newer stuff, and it's not good, but like,
I think I saw a clip of it. I saw a clip of it like on the on like YouTube like shorts or whatever, and it was like Homer sounds completely different. Carl is a different voice actor because apparently you have to have a black person playing him now, and I don't know. It's just it was like a completely different show, and I was just like, I am too old. I'm out on this one.
I watched. I don't remember. This is probably like a few seasons ago, but at this point, but they did a crossover with Futurama, like a full crossover, which makes sense because my granny. But yeah, watching the characters from Futurama, a show that I fucking adore, go into the mind-numbing world of modern Simpsons was painful to watch.
I bet.
And like, that's something I would like to report, by the way, is that the show's never been like, the show had a rocky life as well, but they brought back the Futurama for that new season on Hulu recently.
Okay. Yep.
And I've watched it, and it's pretty good. Like, it's not like mind blowing, but it's pretty good. It's Futurama,
Good.
Yeah, like it still feels like that show. So
okay.
I was pleasantly surprised by that.
I was never a huge Futurama fan. I think it was fine, but it was always like a little too nerdy for me. Like,
it's a little.
The jokes are like
a little high concept sometimes. Yeah,
and it was the same with Rick and Morty. Like, has some annoyingly obsessed fans, but I don't really judge shows by the fan base. I don't believe in that, but I find that interesting. But the show is always like built around like jokes around this premise, and you of duplicating or dimensions or yada yada, and it's just like a little too high concept for me.
Futurama felt like a show written by smart people.
Yeah,
it was the David X. Cohen is like, he's like had like a Harvard degree or some shit. Like, he's fucking smart. Cartoonist that went to school for like he's like a physicist or something. He's
right.
A smart dude. But yeah, no, I will not shy away from shitting on certain fans. Rick and Morty, I've enjoyed it, but sometimes it feels like a smart show written by dumb people. And a lot of people that I know are obsessed with it and think it's high concept. But the kind of people they expect to, like that one South Park episode where they're smelling their own farts. Yeah, that's kind of what I think the Rick and Morty fan base is like most of the time.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I wouldn't consider. I am a fan of Rick and Morty. When they do a good episode, it is good. But I would never call myself a Rick and Morty fan.
That's the unfortunate part. Yeah, the fan base is so rabid that it's like,
yeah,
I wouldn't even want to call myself that, even if I like the show. It's like, I like it, but not that much.
Yeah, it's like sometimes I'll see an episode and I'm like, yeah, that was well, that's fine. That was okay. And then they'll be like, no, you don't understand it.
You don't get it like I do. You don't get
it's like
quantum
shut up.
physics the way I understand it.
Dude, it's a cartoon by fucking
Yeah.
fucking Dan Harmon. I get it, man. I watch Community. I get it. Shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of those, man. It's hard to like things anymore. It's hard to be a fan of something.
Can't I just like things?
So yeah, I didn't want to talk about this because I know you don't care, but I guess I'll bring it up for this. We're talking about TV shows. I watched that Knuckles show that came out on Paramount.
There's a Knuckles show?
Yeah, it's like a 6-episode show. It just started on
Knuckles
from
the Sonic the Hedgehog?
Yeah, it's Knuckles. Did you watch the second movie? No. I don't think you did. Okay. Well, I forget he was in the first one. Do you remember the other cop? Yeah, I think he was in the first movie. They're like, there's the main cop that's with Sonic, and then there's like the stupid cop that works in the town because he's in a small town. Anyway, well, okay. Here's the concept for this show: Knuckles and dumb cop are going to Reno for a bowling championship.
Okay.
And also, there's some people that want Knuckles or something, who want his power, whatever. It was never going to be the best show in the world. But I watched it, and it was about like the other movies. It was fine. It was like inoffensive and fun, And then I go online, and the discourse surrounding this movie. That's like, I mean, it's a 6-episode thing. It basically is a movie, but the discourse surrounding the show is. You would think it's the worst thing ever aired on TV, dude. It's bad, and that's just the Sonic fans because it's like 190 something minutes runtime and 90 minutes has Knuckles in it. Or I think that's an exaggeration because I think they're only counting scenes that are about Knuckles, but they're like he's hardly even in his show. And like I watched it and it was fine. There's like one episode where he doesn't show up that much, but even then, it's like probably the best episode because it's like they did like a rock opera thing with it, but. Like, the show was fine. I enjoyed it. It was never supposed to be the best thing ever. It was just supposed to be a stupid little comedy romp.
Well, the problem is you can't make a thumbnail that says it's okay. Like, nobody will click on it.
Yeah, you got. I mean, a thumbnail article. It's all like Knuckles show worst thing in history.
Yeah, it's either the worst or the best.
God no. I mean, it's really no in between. It's not. Yeah. You can't just be like, yeah, it's fine. It's okay. Like, yeah. I'd watch it a second time probably. Yeah. So yeah, it's hard to exist in that space online
for sure.
Yeah. So it's annoying. That's what I'm going through because if you don't, if as you can guess, I know yours isn't like this, but my YouTube feed, where I am a fan of Sonic, I'm getting a lot of that right now. That's all I'm seeing on my fucking YouTube feed is people shitting on the show. People talking about this show. And I'm like, man, you guys are going to make me... I'm going to watch it before I saw any of those videos because like, you're going to make me sick of seeing this fucking red dude. Yeah. This Redican. And just see his stupid face pop up all the time. Yeah. Like, somebody talk about something interesting. Yeah.
Agree.
I'm talking about this guy. Spencer, it's been fun.
Yeah,
to have you on the show.
2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah, I think we might pass up the last episode I did with Daniel.
Is that my goal? That was my goal for sure.
To make the longest episode.
Yeah.
But here's the problem: if I do episode 5, or sorry, not if when I do episode 5, what if we go longer than this one?
Well, you said I'm coming back.
That's true. But I don't know when. That could be episode 25.
25 will be the longest.
Well, I do have one last segment. The segment's starting over. This is the last segment I do on every episode. And Spencer, whenever you're ready, you know how this segment works.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to explain it to you.
I get 30 seconds, right?
But yes, this segment is 30 seconds to tell, and Spencer has 30 seconds to tell me, the audience, where to find him, what he does, who he is, and anything else he wants to say before the show just ends abruptly. Hold on, I have to get my timer ready. I forgot about that. And after the 30 seconds. Yeah, the show will just end.
Since I'm doing the
And-
recording, do you want to just point at me when it's done, or like?
No, I'll cut it. I'm editing. I have to edit this episode together. So
Okay.
I'll cut it. Okay. So whenever you're ready, I'm ready, and I'll start the timer.
I'm ready.
Okay, starting now.
Do you like RPGs, JRPGs, regular English RPGs that aren't Japanese? Then you need to check out RPG Archive. We do all things Dragon Quest, Final Fantasy, SMT, Persona, and more. Check it out. Alex will be there sometimes, and other people too.
Cool. We got about 5 seconds. I don't know what to say.
This is awkward.